Are we back? What the fuck happened? What the fuck? Of course, like right when I walked away? What the fuck? It ended the whole stream too? It didn't like do a little backup thing? Fuck, man. Ruin the VOD. God damn it. I hate when that fucking happens. That actually fucks me up so bad. What the fuck, dude? I don't know what happened. It must have been on Twitch's end because my OBS is fine. It was. I thought I was still live. I didn't know. What the fuck? Twitch, bro. Dude, I just lost like 50 followers, or 50 followers, like 40 watchers. What the fuck? I crashed Twitch. It's all you. Missed you. Oh, what's up, Ben? What's up, 2A Dave? That's so weird. I don't know what happened. Yeah, everything seems to be fine on my end. I don't know why. Well, shit.
Human being that the residency requirement is actually unconstitutional, and a senior staff attorney with the group saying, to my knowledge, other than what's happening right now with abortion, there are no other medical procedures that are limited to people on the basis of their residency. And arguing it's just unfair and it doesn't really make sense to restrict some sort of medical practice just based on zip code or residency. What we ended up seeing was actually surprising. The state ended up settling, waiving the requirement for Linda should she decide to pursue the procedure. But also the even bigger news connected to the story is it doesn't appear that the state is going to stop with Linda, with them now reportedly considering doing away with the residency requirement altogether, which would be a pretty big deal because of the 10 states in DC that allow some patients with terminal illnesses to seek end-of-life medication, Oregon's the only one that doesn't have a residency requirement. And even that change only happened last year because of a lawsuit. And so in Vermont specifically, the House actually passed an amendment to remove the residency requirement. It's currently in the Senate, so we're going to have to see what happens there. But also notably, not everyone's on board, where there's some that argue that it isn't a medical procedure at all, with the director of the Robert Powell Center for Medical Ethics saying, this is a medical professional abandoning their patient and giving them the tools to end their life. And that's in addition to other major opponents, including disability rights activists, with them citing the concern that this could highlight or even exacerbate the inequities in our healthcare system. And one saying there's just no place for it, especially when we have such a long history of racial disparities in healthcare and disability discrimination in healthcare. But with all that said, going back to Linda, should her chemo stop working, she says that she plans on ending the treatment altogether. With that, then making her eligible for hospice, and that's when she would pursue the procedure in Vermont. But they're planning on spending her last days surrounded by family and going through 50 years of photographs together and sharing memories. With all that, I want to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? Because as far as
I mean, this is a classic conversation.
Especially if someone's terminal, I'm personally on board. I mean, I do think that, of course, there do need to be restrictions and safety nets. But if you've ever seen a terminal person and their quality of life is, it's just, they're just living in pain.
If you've ever spent time with somebody in their last like days, last moments, like, you know that it's like, like when a horse breaks their leg, like they kill the horse. You know what I mean? It's like, or like, you know, they're like, we when it comes to like other living things, we acknowledge that there's like, at a certain point, there's like, it's not a life worth living. So I don't know. I don't think I can handle that. Spending time with somebody at the end. Yeah, it's not fun. I'm going to be honest, I'm halfway following, but as someone who spent the first half of my life caring for a terminally ill person, I will support a euthanasia until I myself die. I don't know, Tofu, I agree with you, but maybe we don't shoot people when they break their legs. Yeah, well. And yeah, we don't value it when humans say they don't want a suffering life. Yeah. Being with someone when they die, yeah, it's... yeah. Yeah. They kill the horse because it won't race anymore. Horses can live happily with... Maybe the horse was a bad example. Maybe the horse was a bad example. My point is like, we recognize that there is a point at which where the life is not worth living. The suffering is not worth it. Yeah, horse was a bad example. Okay. Horse racing is bad. I agree. Better be no broken legs around these parts. Yeah, horse was a bad example. I had cancer last year in the... I'm not laughing at that. I'm not laughing at that. Sorry, I was laughing when I started reading your chat. I had cancer last year, and the worst part was the people around me in the infusion center who were clearly gonna die, and there's nothing they can do about it. It was rough. I can only imagine, and I'm so glad, so happy to have you here still, Round Girl. So glad to have you here still. Okay, but creating the infrastructure for terminal patients means it can be expanded for just anyone. The slippery slope argument, I don't think is a good one. I don't think it's a good one. I think that it needs a lot of regulation, and I think it needs a shitload of regulation, but we also need to like expand on our medical infrastructure, and there's a lot of other things that need to be done too. I would even say in tandem, probably. They shoot the horse because it's usually a work animal and will cost money to feed. Yeah, okay, really bad example. It can't be something people are forced into. Well, of course, because that would be murder, and that's why that would be murder. And I think we're talking about two completely different things when we say that, you know, like medical racism and all of these things. Like, yeah, these are issues that are not necessarily like, those are issues that need to be attacked and solved on their own, in their own right. Tofu, I think your horse metaphor was a bad one. Hey, Budget Ballin, I think that my horse metaphor was a bad one. We need to work on the system before we consider euthanasia, but a dignified way to die is valuable. Absolutely. Let's keep beating this dead horse that should not have been killed because it's a bad example. Not to beat a dead horse, but okay, guys, you fucking assholes. All right, you little shitters. All right, you little shitters.
Thing to force them to live with it, even with how scary and heartbreaking the prospect of ending a life is. And then the FDA just approved an over-the-counter overdose antidote. Right? I mean, the opioid epidemic has resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths by overdose, with more than 106,000 people dying from an opioid overdose in 2021 alone. And now Narcan, the nasal spray version,
based. I have more on this. But this is so base. Maybe this is plenty enough.
Which reverses overdoses, was just approved by the FDA to be sold over the counter without a prescription.
Based. Fucking widely distribute that shit. Hand it out in the streets. Like, I'm not joking. Fucking based.
A statement regarding the decision that the choice was made in order to improve access to naloxone and reduce the number of opioid overdose deaths. But there are also some concerns here. Pharmacies were already allowed to distribute Narcan to anyone who requested it under law, and the cost for Narcan was free for those with Medicaid or private insurance with maybe a copay of $10. But many
what about if you don't have insurance?
Private insurance agencies do not cover most over-the-counter drugs, meaning...
Well, maybe we should get rid of medical insurance. Maybe we should get rid of private insurance.
People have to pay higher prices for Narcan, thus making it less accessible than the FDA intends. Though the FDA did acknowledge this concern. With the FDA in there...
You know what would be crazy interesting in a video game, in Grand Theft Auto, if they had an update in Grand Theft Auto Online where you were able to, like, if you had the means to, like in Grand Theft Auto Online, to purchase a bunch of the Narcan to, like, give it out for free within the Grand Theft, like in San Andreas, you know what I mean, in Los Santos. I'm sorry, Tofu, I hate to bear bad news, but have you heard about Trank though? It's harder than fentanyl and immune to Narcan. Let's not let the good be the enemy, or the perfect be the enemy of the good, or whatever, however they say it. That's cool as shit, but also you need to know how and when to use Narcan. Absolutely, that's true. Everybody needs to be trained on it. Sure, that's true.
Pushing other producers of prescription versions of naloxone to apply for over-the-counter approval in order to make the prices competitive. But whatever the price point ends up being, by the end of summer, Narcan will be widely available in grocery stores, gas stations, and all sorts of other establishments. And in international news, UK's intelligence service just hiked up the terror threat in Northern Ireland to severe. That is the second highest ranking and means an attack is very likely. And according to Northern Ireland Secretary, the reason for the terror level increase was because, quote, in recent months, we have seen an increase in levels of activity relating to Northern Ireland-related terrorism, which has targeted police officers serving their communities and also put at risk the lives of children and other members of the public. Now,
Celtic? Where's Celtic?
With all that, the British authorities don't want people in Northern Ireland to panic. Or if violence happens, they reportedly don't expect it to be nearly on the scale it was before the Good Friday peace agreement. But the groups expect to carry this out, being fringe, break-off groups of Republican radicals that have done pot shots at security forces for years now. It's also why the security level has been one rung below severe for over a year now. I mean, hell, just last month,
The Orange Order is being salty because they lost Brexit.
an officer was shot and barely survived with life-changing injuries. Also, to be clear here, I know I have a majority American audience. These are different Republicans. They also love guns and Jesus. But their main gripe is not wanting to be controlled by the British Crown and Protestantism. The timing here is also key, as the region's coming up on celebrating 25 years since the overwhelmingly successful Good Friday Agreement that ended decades of violence between the Republican groups and the Crown. But if you're watching from Northern Ireland, keep an eye out. Be safe. Also, in other news, Ireland not the only place that's not a fan of the Brits. So this time, it's the city of Amsterdam, with Amsterdam launching an ad campaign targeting young British men to tell them to stay away, which apparently is not reverse psychology. It's just a simple message. They don't want British men aged 18 to 35 coming on over. Because reportedly, in Amsterdam, they have this reputation of being kind of drunken fools who start fights, going around naked and pee in public. The issue's actually been going on for so long that about a decade ago, Amsterdam's then mayor invited then London Mayor Boris Johnson to see what Brits get up to, saying, "The Brits don't wear a coat as they slalom through the red light district. They sing, 'You'll Never Walk Alone.' They are dressed as rabbits or priests, and sometimes they are not dressed at all. I'd love to invite him to witness it." And you have some saying this latest step is just part of a campaign and a long history of trying to clean up the city's reputation as this crazy party city. Which of that, I would say, Amsterdam is gorgeous. It's an amazing time. I love it. But for a lot of other people, the things that come to mind when you think of Amsterdam are, oh, drugs are widely available and prostitution's legal. Which I guess is why the way this campaign is
Based
is by placing digital ads when people in Britain search up things like stag party or pub crawl Amsterdam. And it'll feature videos of drunk people getting arrested instead of having fun, with the message clearly being, your shenanigans have clear consequences. That said, this campaign is controversial, with some disgusted by it, saying it's discriminatory and it targets a group solely based on stereotypes. And other locals saying they don't think it's a specific group that's a problem, but rather just the sheer number of people that are showing up. And so that's why, of course, I'd love to know everyone's thoughts, but specifically, if you are a Brit or if you are Dutch, let me know your
What you say, Alex? What are your thoughts, bruv?
thoughts. What are you thinking about this?
And then
We might be seeing one of the biggest business shakeups in a while right now. Alibaba, an absolutely massive Chinese company, announced that it's breaking up into 6 different distinct companies. News that has caused the stock to absolutely soar, which
British tourists are the worst. That's actually
was
science.
sorely needed because for a while now it's been in the gutter amid a crackdown by Chinese authorities. It had dropped nearly 70% since 2020, and it sure as hell didn't help that its founder, Jack Ma, was
Alana,
under scrutiny by the CCP.
what's up?
Recently,
Good to
China
see
has
you.
seemingly changed its course and vowed to ease its crackdown and support private businesses. So what we're seeing are these changes will make most of the spin-off groups almost completely independent,
How's it going? Good to see you. Hope you're well.
with the current CEO saying that Alibaba Group plans to shift to a holding company management model. This all also coincides with Ma's return to China itself, with many seeing it as a clear sign that the government is serious about not wanting to crack down on business. But also, this is the CCP we're talking about here, so we'll see. But with that, I want to say thank you for being a part of it.
Well, we'll see. CP.
We'll dive into the news. My name is Philip DeFranco.
Philip, I really hate the Chinese Communist Party, DeFranco. Fucking, but couldn't tell you exactly why that is. But couldn't exactly tell you why that is, though. I'm in a hot bath. Jealous. Jealous. As you can see, I am not. As you can see, I am not. Unfortunately. Wish I was, though. That sounds nice. All right, news wrap from PBS. Let's check it out.
In the day's other headlines, the U.S. Senate moved to reclaim war-making powers for Congress. The vote was 66 to 30, repealing approvals for the first Gulf War in 1991 and the invasion of Iraq in 2002. The bipartisan support overcame opposition by some Republicans for rescinding the authorizations for use of military force, or AUMFs.
The entire world has changed dramatically since 2002. And it's time the laws on the books catch up with those changes. These AUMFs have outlived their use. These repeals will not harm our service members abroad, nor will it hinder our ability to keep Americans safe.
I don't support the repeal of this 2002 AUMF at this time. This needs to be repealed.
At when? When then, Senator James Risch, Republican from Idaho? When then?
There's no question about it. It should be replaced by something, and that is one of the real problems here, because the debate to do that has been ongoing for as long as I've been here.
It's unclear if
Yeah, that's an
Republicans-
interesting thing. It's been the debate on this has been ongoing since you've been here. How about we give the fucking war powers back to Congress the way it's supposed to fucking be, you dumbass? Quit fucking talking about the fucking Constitution in every other fucking instance if you don't want to give the fucking war powers back to Congress, you dumb fuck. God, the old Republican guard, it's crazy. They're still holding on for dear life. The fucking old neocons, they're still fucking holding on for dear fucking life. Oh my goodness gracious. Are you guys talking about Twitter? What are we talking about? Alana, we saw some stuff on Twitter and we made sure that everybody in our chat the other day reported it. Sending love to you.
House will support the repeal. In Ukraine, explosions knocked out power today in Russian-occupied Melitopol, a major logistical hub in the south. Ukraine's military did not directly claim responsibility. Meantime, the head of the UN nuclear agency, Rafael Grossi, visited the nearby Zaporizhia power plant. For safety assessment. He said the situation has worsened since he visited last September. Pope Francis has been hospitalized in Rome for a respiratory infection. The Vatican says he does not have COVID, but is having trouble breathing and needs several days of treatment. Francis had greeted crowds at his weekly audience in St. Peter's Square.
The Daily Mail put it in an article, so it's gone fuckered. Let's go. Get fucked. Fuck them.
Before heading to the hospital. He's 86 years old. The U.S. and Israel faced a rare public flare-up today over a...
Wait, am I understanding that wrong? Hold on. Put it in an article, like how?
Overhaul plan. President Biden had urged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to drop the plan that's provoked crippling strikes and protests. Netanyahu tweeted back that Israel makes its decisions by the will of its people and not based on pressures from abroad. This afternoon, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby played down the dispute but urged compromise in Israel.
One of the great things that we share, our two countries share, are some basic fundamental democratic institutions and principles. And one of them is, again, the broadest possible base of public support for major changes like this, changes which affect the system of checks and balances.
For now, Netanyahu has frozen the plan and started negotiations with his political opponents. The UN General Assembly is asking the world's top court to spell out what nations must do to fight climate change. An opinion from the International Court of Justice would not be binding, but supporters say it would encourage...
They posted that tweet without doing any... Oh, okay, I misunderstood. Okay. Well, fuck. I hope that works out for you.
Greater
I hope
action.
that works out.
Today's vote came on a resolution pushed by the Pacific island nation of Vanuatu. Mexico's president vowed today to punish anyone responsible for the deaths of 38 migrants in a fire. It happened late Monday in Ciudad Juarez, across the border from El Paso, Texas, when fire broke out at a detention center. Surveillance camera video showed migrants burning their mattresses to protest being deported, but guards walked away without unlocking the cells as the fire spread.
To all of those people who died, the guards could have opened the gates to let the migrants out. They didn't open the gate, leaving them locked in. The guards didn't help the migrants because they didn't feel like it. The guards treat you badly.
Most of the victims were from Central American countries. Back in this country, Republican lawmakers in Kentucky enacted limits for transgender minors over the Democratic governor's veto. The measure bans gender-affirming care for those under the age of 18 and restricts which bathrooms they can use. Opponents have threatened court action against the law. The FDA has approved the first over-the-counter sales of an opioid treatment drug. Narcan nasal spray is a version of the life-saving drug naloxone that can reverse overdoses. Today's FDA action means Narcan will be available without a prescription by late summer. And on Wall Street, stocks rallied as fears of bank troubles receded. The Dow...
Okay, that's where you lose me. That's where you fucking lose me, huh? That's where you fucking lose me. All right. Democracy right fucking now. Yeah, one good thing. What? Democracy now? What? What's up, YouTube? Fuck you, dude. Dude, I am signed in right now. Play the fucking video. God, why do they do this all the fucking time, dude?
Welcome to Democracy Now!
Dude, they make it so impossible to fucking just understand, like, accept the fucking shit.
Welcome to
there we
Democracy
go.
Now!
There we go.
Democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In Mexico, hundreds of asylum seekers gathered in Ciudad Juarez Tuesday demanding justice after at least 38 people were killed during a fire at an immigration detention jail just feet from the border with El Paso, Texas. Over 24 others were seriously injured. The blaze Monday broke out after dozens of migrants set their mattresses on fire, protesting their deportations as well as abusive and inhumane conditions at the overcrowded jail run by Mexico's National Migration Institute. Surveillance footage released Tuesday also shows guards quickly walking away when the fire started, making no attempt to release the migrants as flames and smoke engulfed their cells. At least 28 of the victims were from Guatemala, according to officials, while others killed and injured were from Venezuela, Honduras, El Salvador, Colombia, and Ecuador. This is Daniela Marquez, an asylum seeker from Venezuela, at yesterday's protest in Ciudad Juarez.
We demand justice for those who were inside the migration center. They had been there inside for a month. They cried out of hunger because they didn't give them food. It's not fair, honestly. The victims have families. Their mothers are in Venezuela. How is that possible that their mothers have to cry for them that far away? It's not fair, honestly. I don't have the words to express what I feel, honestly.
After headlines, we'll go to Ciudad Juarez, Mexico for more. More information has emerged about the Nashville school shooter who killed 6 people Monday, 3 of them 9-year-old children. This is Nashville Police Chief John Drake.
We've determined that Audrey bought 7 firearms from 5 different local gun stores here legally. They were legally purchased. 3 of those weapons were used yesterday during this horrific tragedy. She was under care, doctor's care, for an emotional disorder. Law enforcement knew nothing about the treatment she was receiving, but her parents felt that she should not own weapons.
A motive for the massacre has not yet been identified.
Why was she able to purchase them legally?
Body camera footage shows Nashville officers stopping the rampage 4 minutes after arriving on the scene. The police response has been compared to last year's mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, where officers waited for well over an hour before confronting the shooter, while 21 people, including 19 children, were massacred, almost all of them Latinx. Russia says it's begun drills with its Yars intercontinental ballistic missile system in a show of military might. Meanwhile, Ukraine's received a first shipment of Leopard and Challenger.
What happened to the manifesto? It hasn't been released yet, but everybody wants to fucking talk about it. Everybody wants to talk about it like they already know that it was, it had everything to do with the fact that he was transgender. Like, they want to talk about this and then talk about that fucking event that I'm not even sure is actually fucking a real event. Trans Day of Vengeance or whatever the fuck. They want to be like, this is that. This is trans vengeance.
Tanks from Germany and Britain amid intense fighting in the country's east. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, is visiting the site of Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Zaporizhzhia today. President Volodymyr Zelensky told Rossi the safety at the nuclear power station cannot be guaranteed as long as it remains under Russian occupation in what he called Moscow's radiation blackmail. Grossi said Tuesday talks to stem the risks of a nuclear disaster are ongoing.
It might be possible to establish some form of protection, perhaps not emphasizing so much the idea of a zone, but on the
protection
itself, what people should do or shouldn't do to protect, instead of having a territorial concept.
In Russia, a man whose 13-year-old daughter drew an anti-war picture at school was sentenced to 2 years in prison in a case that sparked international outrage. Alexei Moskalyov, however, has apparently escaped his house arrest, and authorities said Tuesday his whereabouts are unknown. His daughter, whose drawing featured a Ukrainian mother and child under a barrage of missiles, was removed from her home and put in a shelter. The owner of The Guardian issued an apology Tuesday for the British newspaper's founder's role in transatlantic slavery. The Scott Trust published research that shows Guardian founder John Edward Taylor and investors gained much of their wealth from the cotton trade after importing the cotton from North America, where it was cultivated.
Just wanted to pop in and call you gay. Hey, Alana, you're gay. You're more gay. You're more gay, okay? Remember that. I hope you have a good night. Always good to see you, Alana.
By enslaved Africans on plantations. The findings came as part of an independent investigation commissioned in late 2020 by the Scott Trust. The Guardian also announced a 10-year, $12 million restorative justice program, which includes supporting black journalists. British-Nigerian historian and member of the Scott Trust, David Olusoga, is featured in a video as part of the Guardian's report, as well as a written piece in which he describes how British ties to the transatlantic slave trade have been obfuscated.
The Guardian, like thousands of institutions in Britain, has direct financial connections to the world of slavery. That reality can't be negotiated with. It can't be explained away. This history can never be solved, can never be remedied, but it can be, something good can come from it, but it needs to be a dialogue.
In Burma, the ruling military junta dissolved 40 political parties, including Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD party. NLD and others did not meet a registration deadline for the yet-to-be-scheduled election, which most civilian parties deem illegitimate. 77-year-old Aung San Suu Kyi was deposed and arrested in February 2021 military coup and is now serving prison sentences totaling 33 years. The UN reports the humanitarian and human rights crisis in Burma is continuing to deteriorate, with mass arrests, torture of prisoners, the killing of civilians, and media repression. Back in the United States, in Idaho, the State House passed a bill that would criminalize the act of helping someone under the age of 18 obtain an abortion in another state without parental consent. The bill is now headed to the Idaho Senate, where it's
states' rights, though. But it's all about states' rights. States' rights, though, right? Yeah. States' rights. It's just about states' rights. Yeah. You know, small government and whatever. Right.
All abortions are now illegal in Idaho following the repeal of Roe v. Wade. With the proposed measure, state Republicans created a new crime, so-called abortion trafficking.
Abortion trafficking. Good one, dude. Good one. Oh, clever fucking assholes. Like, dishonest fucking assholes.
2 to 5 years in prison. The legislation also applies to mail-order medication abortions, meaning an older relative who drives a minor to the post office to pick up a package containing abortion pills could end up in prison. A federal judge has reportedly ordered former Vice President Mike Pence to testify to the grand jury investigating Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Special counsel Jack Smith, who's overseeing the grand jury, subpoenaed Pence earlier this year. While the judge ruled executive privilege does not shield Pence from testifying, Pence could avoid certain lines of questioning thanks to a constitutional clause known as speech or debate that's intended to protect lawmakers from some forms of legal action. Pence could still appeal the judge's decision. Meanwhile, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker testified again this week before the Manhattan grand jury looking into alleged hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels during Trump's 2016 campaign. Pecker said to have helped broker the deal between Daniels and Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. The Washington Post reporting Ginny Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, collected nearly $600,000 in anonymous donations for a conservative group called Crowdsourcers for Culture and Liberty. It's not the first time Ginny and Clarence Thomas have come under scrutiny for conflict of interest issues. In 2020, Ginny Thomas urged White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to pursue efforts to overturn Donald Trump's election loss and pressured officials in Arizona and Wisconsin to choose pro-Trump electors.
Sick ass. Why are these assholes still unelected? Why the fuck are these assholes appointed?
Thomas was the sole dissenter in the Supreme Court's 8-1 decision that led to the release of White House documents around January 6th. In other news from Washington, President Biden and Republicans remain at odds over how to handle the debt ceiling, as Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy requested a meeting with Biden Tuesday to push for spending cuts before agreeing to raise the debt limit. The White House and Democrats have rejected this idea. Republicans agreed to raising the debt ceiling with no conditions 3 times during Trump's presidency. Yesterday, advocacy groups joined with progressive lawmakers to demand Republicans stop cutting essential social services, including Medicare and the food assistance program SNAP, which was recently slashed after being increased during the pandemic. This is April Lewis from Action, North Carolina.
Conservatives are trying to increase costs, paperwork, and bureaucracy that will only put families like mine at risk of losing access to food assistance and increasing the risk of homelessness, because the same conservatives are increasing costs for low-income families by protecting tax loopholes for the wealthy. These wealthy stakeholders and corporations should pay their fair share, and by reversing the Trump tax cuts alone would save $2 trillion.
And a Maryland appeals court has reinstated the murder conviction of Adnan Syed, less than 6 months after prosecutors in Baltimore dropped charges against him last October, asserting he was wrongly convicted. Syed was released from prison in September following 23 years behind bars for the 1999 murder of his ex-girlfriend, Hae Min Lee. The appeals court Tuesday ordered a new hearing on Syed's conviction, saying the rights of Hae Min Lee's brother, Young Lee, had been violated when he wasn't given adequate notice to travel from California to attend last year's proceedings in Maryland in person. The case gained national attention in 2014 when it was featured on the hugely popular podcast Serial. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report.
I'm Amy Goodman.
I'm Amy Goodman in New York with Democracy.
Tofu Ghost in Los Angeles.
Co-host Juan Gonzalez.
In Tofu Ghost, Los Angeles.
Chicago. Hi.
Tofu Ghost in Los Angeles. Hi.
And welcome to all of our listeners and viewers.
Hi. Oh, God, that's loud. Holy fucking shit, that's loud. All right, we go next over to France. France. We have a couple situations we want to talk about in France. Water protesters clashed with police in Sainte-Soline. I don't know how you would pronounce that. In France. And then we go to the other stuff going on in France around the pension strikes. We got to show a little bit of solidarity. Sacre bleu. Yeah. We're going to show a little bit of solidarity. But we're going to do that after we run a quick ad break, because this shit wants to, since my shit started over again, it wants to run an automatic ad anyway in 1 minute and 45 seconds. So we're just going to get ahead of it and run it now. Here's the thing. When I run ads, I run them while I'm away from the stream. That way, even if you are unsubscribed, you don't miss anything. But, however, if you would like to support the stream, support our little cute, wholesome community here, and get access to cool Tofu Ghost emotes, all you got to do is subscribe for $4.99 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Or maybe you are already subscribed and you're feeling generous and you have the means to. maybe consider gifting a sub to one of our friends in the chat, one of our comrades in the community. And helping out one of our friends in the chat. I was looking at something with an ad-free viewing experience and access to cool Tofu Ghost emotes. We're currently at 0 out of 20 for our daily subscriber goal. Just getting started. Just getting started off. Every little bit of help goes a long way and is very much appreciated. I do this full time, so it is very much appreciated. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't you go anywhere. BRB, BRB, BRB. Okie dokie. We're back. We're back. Budget ballin'. Budget ballin' needs. You owe me money, motherfucker. Budget ballin', give me my money back, bitch. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Time for some solidarity. I don't know if I'm even saying that. I'm so terrible at accents. Ooh, look at the little turtle. Look at the little turtle. I mean, what the fuck is this supposed to be? The fuck is this supposed to be? I don't know. I guess let's find out, huh? Unicorn Ride is awesome. They were on the ground and continue to be doing really good on the ground reporting in regards to Cop City. But little international news here. Water protesters clash with police in Sainte-Soline, France. When it comes to the French, the more offensive you sound, the better. Yeah. Oh my god, that's loud. Okay, what is going on here? Did I miss it? Tens of thousands of protesters recently gathered in Sainte-Soline, France to protest against mega basins, a highly controversial method of water storage used in agricultural farming. Mega basins have long been criticized by environmentalists for their negative impacts on the environment. Many local farmers also oppose the project on the grounds that the local infrastructure will only benefit a handful of agro-industrialists. Police fired stun grenades and tear gas to prevent the protesters from reaching the mega basins. Protesters responded with their own volley of rocks, fireworks, and Molotov cocktails. Yep, cocktails. During the clashes, protesters set a number of police vehicles on fire. Around 200 people were estimated to be injured. 2 protesters sustained life-threatening injuries, Jesus, and were reported to be in intensive care. Fuck. Example of a mega basin. Okay, there's tons of these. Okay, we got tons of these in California and stuff in the desert area. Tons of those in like Arizona and Nevada, yeah. The French are kind of cool sometimes, man. The French are kind of cool sometimes. When it comes to fucking taking it to the police in the streets and also playing trumpet and shit whilst doing so, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, I've seen those around Cali. We need more people playing brass at protests. That's what I'm saying. It's like, what? They got people playing the trumpet? That's fucking great. I love that. I love that. Solidarity. More France news. But in regards to the Macron pension protests. Come on, let's go. More ska at protests, said literally nobody ever. More ska at protests? Nah, I'm good. We have just the right amount of ska at protests. None. None.
Burned bins and clashed with police in Paris during a demonstration that was otherwise peaceful. Thousands of students and public sector workers once again in the street, angry with French President Emmanuel Macron's pension reform and his government's decision to force it through Parliament by decree.
Maybe the government is finally starting to hear that many French people are against this reform and against Macron for not listening.
The reform raises the retirement age from 62 to 64, which we don't want, and forcing it through Parliament.
Wrong, Tofu. We need to pick it up. No.
No more democracy in France.
Protesters want
God damn it. The moment ska gets brought up, all the fucking ska diehards come out of nowhere and they're like, what? But what about this? But what? Listen, the specials is the only thing that I give a shit about. Okay? The specials, that's it. That's it. That's all. That's all.
Scrap the reform, but Macron says the changes are necessary to sustain the country's pension system for future generations.
This is the 10th.
He's in a trash bin.
Since the beginning.
I'm memeing, but go off, Queen. I know you're memeing. I'm memeing too.
Yeah.
We're all memeing. Life is just a big meme.
Deadlock between the trade unions who are leading the protests and the French government will end.
One of France's main trade union leaders says it's time for mediation.
They need to suspend raising the retirement age to 64. That's what angers people most. Then over the next month or so, we should appoint mediators so everyone can say what they want.
A plan swiftly rejected by the government.
What's up, Orkban?
We can talk to each other directly. The president has already said he's ready to receive the unions once the constitutional courts approve the new law.
Macron could sign the bill.
Holy shit, they're running fast.
The pension system was one of his campaign promises, but the changes have come at a cost as anger against them isn't subsiding. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Paris.
Fuck, they're running fucking fast. I think we got another. Knocked oh, are we gonna get like violence? Like how? Like what kind of violence are we talking about? Doesn't seem too bad. It's just somebody gets knocked out in the beginning here. Ooh. Ouch. I should be reading this, sorry. French police have been accused of brutality and arbitrarily detaining people during the recent pension reform protests. And as I'm a bit agitated, they think that's enough to something. They chase us, I was hit in the face, they kept me for as long as they could just to punish me so that I wouldn't protest again. Police have held hundreds of people as they tried to disperse regular protests. But rights advocates say most have been released without charge. The only aim in reality is to arrest people in mass, but then, fuck, they're talking too fast! In mass, but then put them in police stations, put them on file, and generally intimidate them and terrorize the whole population. Rights groups, magistrates, and left-wing politicians have publicly expressed concern over police practices. We are out every night until 2 to 3 a.m. to see how they talk fast. They talk fast, bro. Oh my god, let me fucking rewind. 2 to 3 a.m. to see how things are going at the demonstrations. To check how the police are managing these demonstrations. How they are arresting people, and we have seen phenomena of violence. Okay, Jesus, too fast. But security officials have defended the police's actions, saying they are responding to violent rioters and anarchist groups. We respect strikes and demonstrations, but we will be particularly vigilant to ensure that it does not give rise to new outbursts. And this is thanks to the exceptional mobilization of our security forces. Yeah. Motherfuckers want to communists, some certain types of communists anyway will love to talk shit about anarchists when they're the ones in the streets doing the real fucking work, okay? Doing the real work. Like fucking the legends that they are. All right, let's keep it moving. Israel.
Well, Natasha Ghanem joins us from West Jerusalem with more on the crisis in Israel. Now, the two leaders, Netanyahu and Biden, are clearly at odds over...
Biden and Netanyahu trade words amid Israel judicial reform protests.
What sort of pressure does that actually put on Netanyahu now?
Bear in mind, this is a long-standing relationship between American President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They've known each other for 40 years by Netanyahu's recollection. The two have not met since Netanyahu has taken office in December, and President Biden, up until Tuesday evening, had never been so clear publicly about his opposition to the judicial overhaul, though we know from the American media that the Biden administration had been pressuring Benjamin Netanyahu and his administration to calm the streets, to come to some sort of compromise. Netanyahu is saying that he appreciates the long-standing alliance between the two countries. He says it's unbreakable and that they've always been able to overcome the rare occasions in the past. But he is saying Israel is a sovereign country. It makes its decision by the will of the people and not from pressure from abroad. Netanyahu is sticking to his belief that there...
That'd be crazy if we cut all the fucking funding that we've been giving you. That'd be so crazy. That'd be so crazy.
The need for judicial overhaul. He's saying that this administration is committed to strengthening democracy by restoring the proper balance between the three branches of government, and we're striving to achieve that via consensus. Now,
so Tofu, today there's a right-wing protest in Israel called Freedom March. Nice. To free Israel from the U.S. interference. Okay. Just completely stupid. The will of a select few people. Nice, dude. Sick ass.
If you speak to the opposition, they do not believe, even to this moment, that the governing coalition is sincere about compromise. We only got to this point on Sunday evening when Netanyahu fired his defense minister, Yoav Gallant, and that escalated the situation considerably.
Just on that point, is there an update on negotiations with the opposition to help resolve this crisis? I mean, how are they going?
Well, right now at the Israeli president's home here in Jerusalem, he is meeting with members of the opposition party, specifically members representing Arab political parties. On Tuesday evening, for the first time since this political crisis began about 3 months ago, negotiating teams did meet. They met for about an hour. There were members of the governing coalition and members of the opposition. Israeli reports say that there was not much progress, that it was more a setting of the stage of future negotiations, and there are negotiations planned today as well.
The only democracy in the Middle East. Don't let it die. Libbies!
That he hopes that the negotiations will, quote, calm the spirits, lower the flames, and lead to positive results with a broad agreement. There is still a lot of anger and suspicion, and there will be more protests, not only among the opposition, but supporters are also expressing their intent to go to the streets. Both sides very entrenched in their desire to each push their side. I will say that we still don't know what's going on with the defense minister post. Now, the Sunday evening, Netanyahu did fire Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, but he never received a formal dismissal letter. And yesterday, Gallant attended a routine security meeting, and Netanyahu has not said a word about the defense minister since then. There is a lot of speculation that perhaps for the time being, to calm the situation, that the status quo will remain in terms of the defense minister posting, and Gallant will remain at his post.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Natasha Beguenay for us in West Jerusalem.
Is that all we had on that? Oh, we have something. Oh, we had a good politic guy on Israeli protests forced Netanyahu to halt judicial reforms. It's actually good politic guy's kind of been lagging. This is like old news. That's like old. Good politic guy needs to step their game up. All right, before we get into fucking Andy No on Tucker Carlson, god fucking damn it, man, I'm not looking forward to watching that. Before we get into Andy No on Tucker Carlson, let's look a little bit more at the actually we already kind of looked at that. We kind of already looked at that plenty. I don't know how much more coverage there would be, any different coverage over the Narcan situation. More access to Narcan is good. Obviously, 7 CHP officers face charges in use of force, death. Let's check it out before we get into fucking Andy No on Tucker Carlson.
Hi there, Sam. Yes, the charges stemming from that incident that occurred 3 years ago were officially filed today. And the
3 years ago.
District Attorney's Office says the officers are now expected to surrender.
Please don't. Okay. I'll do it willingly. I'm here to announce criminal charges against 1 California Highway Patrol sergeant, 6 CHP officers, and 1
George Gascon, man,
nurse, in the deaths of 38-year-old Edward Bronstein.
How serious is this?
This is serious.
Kermit. Kind of does sound like Kermit.
Forced me to do this?
Here's police video of the incident that LA County District Attorney George Gascon believes caused Bronstein's death. Bronstein had been pulled over for DUI 3 years ago. He was taken to the Altadena CHP station where officers and a nurse carried out a court-ordered blood draw after he refused to give a sample.
You're bringing the fight to this, not us.
I'm not fighting it at all.
Then have a seat and provide your arm.
Officers can be seen putting Bronstein on the floor and restraining him while a nurse takes his blood.
I can't breathe. I'll do it willingly. I'll do it willingly.
Just relax and stop resisting.
At one point, he appears to become unconscious. Officers and the nurse are seen attempting to revive him. And then, a few minutes later, they take life-saving measures. Bronstein would later be pronounced dead.
Yeah, I hope you all fucking, every single one of you that sat there and watched that or held him down, I hope you all can never sleep another night in your life. I hope that you see his face in your fucking, in your head every night when you try to fucking go to bed. I hope so.
And the nurse have been charged with involuntary manslaughter. The sergeant and officers also face 1 count of assault under the color of authority.
We believe that they failed their duty, and their failure was criminally negligent.
The charges were announced at a press conference, which Bronstein's father attended.
I'm glad that we came to this point where they get prosecuted so they can hurt nobody else.
The coroner found Bronstein had meth, marijuana, and alcohol in his system and determined his cause of death as acute methamphetamine intoxication during restraint by law.
No, dude. No. That's not how that works. Don't care what fucking kind of drugs they had in their system. If you were fucking doing this shit to them physically, if you are fucking putting them under that much stress, stopping them from being able to breathe regularly, fucking blocking blood flow, any of these things, you are responsible. I don't give a fuck if they are intoxicated. I don't give a fuck. You are the fucking factor that ended their life. See George Floyd. Don't fucking give me that shit, dude.
Enforcement. Gascon didn't respond to the coroner's report, but Bronstein's father did.
No for drugs or nothing, because he wasn't under drugs or nothing. He obeyed the officers, everything they asked.
And the family's civil attorneys say they have evidence to contradict the coroner's report.
It was the asphyxia caused by the officers being on his back, not letting him breathe. That's what's the cause of death.
At this point, there is no set date for an arraignment. Coming up this Friday, there is going to be a vigil for Bernstein in front of the Altadena CHP station. Now, CHP...
Yeah, they said they had drugs in their system or something. So they said that's why.
...to these charges, and I'm going to let you know what they said coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. For now, reporting live here in downtown Los Angeles.
All right, that's enough from you. Oh, my God. All right. I guess let's just get into this shit. I don't want to pause in between. Here, I'm gonna run this a little, see if there's anything extra on this Narcan situation, on Narcan being approved by the FDA before we get into Andy No. I'm gonna be right back,
For
chat.
the first time in history, the FDA has approved an over-the-counter version of Narcan.
The Food and Drug Administration announcing the approval of an over-the-counter version of naloxone, commonly known as Narcan, making it easier for anyone to buy it at a local pharmacy and have it on hand.
Hey, where is it?
If administered quickly after an opioid overdose, Narcan can be the difference between life and death.
How long has she been down?
Like what happened with this 1-year-old girl in Alabama. She overdosed after eating one of her mother's pills, but after a police officer gave her Narcan, she was conscious again.
Come on, baby. Come on.
She survived, but others without access to Narcan might not.
Oh my fucking God.
Drug overdoses are the leading cause of accidental deaths in America.
Sorry about that, chat.
Killing more than 107,000 people in 2021, according to the CDC. More than 80,000 of those deaths involved opioids. And overdoses among teens aged 14 to 18 now reaching
It's cool she
a
lived.
record
Good.
high, surging 133% in just 2 years. Some schools now even installing Narcan kits in
Good.
hallways.
We are going
Good.
hands on deck because it's such a prominent drug throughout our community.
At least 20 states are now allowing schools to stock naloxone, training staff and sometimes even students on how to use it. Right now,
Good.
the average price of a 2-dose box of prescription Narcan is around $130, according to GoodRx. So for Americans who might now want to have Narcan on hand, one important question remains. Will they be able to afford this life-saving medication? And Joe, you never know this medication, but if you do have it on hand, it will be life-saving. And so thankfully, it's going to be over the counter, but the manufacturers say it won't be over the counter until later this summer.
Thanks for watching our
YouTube channel. Weird that it isn't free. Well, we need to fix our fucking listen. We need universal fucking healthcare for everybody. You shouldn't have to, it shouldn't be paywalled. Access to life-saving drugs should not be paywalled. You should not have more access to a healthy life just because you're a rich person. No, you should not. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of fucking work to do, but it is a good thing that we have more access to Narcan. It is a good thing, but we still have a lot of fucking things to fix. Oh God. All right, chat. It's time to get into, as if we hadn't already been hitting the doomer fucking shit. As if we hadn't already been hitting the doomer shit. We'll have some pick-me-ups. We'll have some pick-me-ups. Don't worry. Don't worry. But right now, we got to check in with two very fucking terrible pieces of shit. Andy No on Tucker Carlson tonight. Andy No tells Tucker about the extremist trans fringe. Yeah, expert Andy No on the extremist trans fringe. All right, let's check it out.
So there is a lot going on the. It's not even clear whether it's fair to call it the left, but the true extremist fringe in this country. And it's not all trans people, of course, but the extremist trans fringe is a lot more threatening than most people understand. Andy No has been covering, he's been covering Antifa for years now. He's the author of Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. He's the senior editor at Post Millennial. He joins us tonight. Andy, thanks so much for coming on. So again, you don't want to get too broad brush here, but there is an extremist movement, obviously. It's very evident online in the aftermath of this mass murder. Are you surprised to see it?
No. So in my reporting on Antifa for years now, one observation that I noticed was that disproportionately the number of riot arrestees are gender diverse. And by that, I mean they don't identify with their biological sex.
What? I need your evidence on this. I need your source. And like, what the fuck are you? One, source. I need your source. Two, like, if you want to say that, like, they're like amongst the left that are present in protest is a lot of gender diverse people, is that just because most people are actually more gender diverse than they fucking realize, or that they than they want to admit to themselves? But on the left, we have more, open embracing of gender, nonconformity anyway. Like, what the fuck are you even? What is this even saying? And what is your fucking source?
On some nights, it was as high as 20%, and that is magnitudes higher than what the data we have on people in the wider American population who are trans-identifying. So, I looked into this a bit further. There's some peer-reviewed research out of Canada. You can find it on the Library of Medicine that shows
peer-reviewed research out of
evidence that young transgender people are particularly vulnerable to violent radicalization. And in my reporting on that,
is the common theme possibly the fact that, like, young people in general, in a world where most people generally, regardless of age, gender, race, whatever, are more and more alienated in our society, the alienation under capitalism? Is it that no matter who you are, if you are young and you are alienated and you are mentally unwell, which is a lot of fucking people, regardless of the way you identify, your race, whatever the fuck, young people are prone to radicalization. It's like, do you want to apply, like, we could take this logic and show way more instances where there are, like, young, white, hetero, cis men who are fucking radicalized. Like, never mind most of the shootings being done by white, hetero, cis men. Never mind that. Never mind that.
Extremism. For months now, I've documented and tracked this surge in violent rhetoric by self-identified trans militant activists, particularly on Twitter, in response to various states restricting or banning the medical transitioning of minors.
It's like, what you're talking about is like, is there like on Twitter especially, have there been people expressing extreme frustration due to these policies that are being passed across the country? Like, yeah, dude. Yeah. People are having their rights taken away and they're responding like, oh, whoa, what a fucking concept.
You mentioned earlier the horrific murder of children and staff at the Christian school yesterday does come just days ahead of a so-called trans day of vengeance that's being organized.
It's like, Are these, look at, they're doing that thing again. Remember, chat? Look at this. Look at this thing. What is that? What is this? What is that thing over there? Look at that. What is this? Look at that. These two things are not the same. But when I put them together, what is that? I don't know. I'm not sure what this is, but I'm just pointing it out. I don't know what this means. I don't know what putting these two things together means, but there might be something there. I'm just asking questions.
In the U.S. Capitol. And unfortunately, myself and other people who have reported on this and posted this flyer, which, by the way, that group is still online. If you posted the flyer, regardless of the context, you're locked out of your account. So currently, I cannot access my Twitter.
Can I ask you just a quick macro question? So one of the reasons that so many well-meaning middle-aged moms in this country have bought into support of the trans community is on the basis of the promise that it's liberation and this is kids when they finally...
Or maybe all of the fucking science. Yeah, all of the science, all of the facts that you refuse to acknowledge.
Their true inner identity will be happier and better adjusted. But the incidence of violence and mental illness seems to be extraordinary. So
like... the mental illness and violence you are speaking of has nothing to do with the trans stuff. That is something that is a problem throughout our society. Throughout our fucking society. Throughout our society. When the overwhelming fucking data shows that people who receive gender affirming care, their mental health dramatically improves. So it's like, what is your point? If you want to say, oh, the extreme mental illness in trans people is leading them to do violence, which is bullshit, wouldn't you want to give them the life-saving healthcare that would prevent them from having seriously serious problems with mental health? Like, none of this is supposed to make any sense. They're pointing in a bunch of different directions, pointing at a bunch of things, and then drawing, connecting dots that don't even exist, don't even connect.
It doesn't seem like people are being liberated. It seems like people are being tormented and driven to the brink of insanity. That, just watching, that seems clear.
It's the exact opposite of liberation. We have mountains of evidence that
who
suffer from gender dysphoria also suffer from very high rates of mental health comorbidities.
Mental health comorbidities. So there was other things. So, on top of your gender dysphoria, you also had depression. Well, no shit, Sherlock, you fucking dumb fuck. Do you hear how they're saying comorbidities? They had other problems. They had other mental health problems. You know that there's only one mental, right? There's only one mental, right? It's not the same as like, had COVID, but also had like pancreatic cancer or some shit, or also had lung cancer, or also like fucking had high blood pressure, or like, it's not the same. You can't do that.
When you have
you're right, Erk.
Of people being fed cross-sex hormones and are also being in an environment where they are encouraged to have a violent hatred of wider society, and you can see this in the reaction.
Encouraged? Who's encouraging people's distaste for society? Is it the people in said society that are trying to take away the rights and make life harder, and in some extreme cases not worth living for trans people and LGBT people generally? Who is driving that? Is it you, Tucker? Is it you, Andy? No? Is it your friend Matt Walsh? Like, is it who? Like,
before, during, and after this killing.
See, it's like, they exist in communities that are telling them that other people don't want them to be happy. Other people don't want them to be part of their society. Other people want them dead. Well, what about the people that don't want them a part of their society? What about the people that want them dead? Oh, no, it's the people that tell them that there are other people that want you to die and you are safe here. Like, okay, buddy. Okay, bud.
Thank you for your
Thank you so much.
And very informed analysis.
Yeah, very informed analysis, Andy. No, you fucking piece of shit, fucking grifter, piece of fucking trash.
Subscribe to
God, I fucking hate these people with every ounce of my being. I hate these people. With every ounce of my being, I hate these people. All right, hopefully something a little bit more positive in the same regard, in regards to the fight for trans rights. Senators pivot to Senator Hunt to continue trans rights filibuster in Nebraska. Let's check out what our allies in Nebraska are up to.
Very little of the package is targeted to low and middle income Nebraskans, and the average tax cut for the majority of Nebraskans is really tiny when compared to the tax savings that higher paid Nebraskans would receive.
1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. President. And so I ask the fellow Nebraskans that are out there listening to really dig into this and ask some tough questions. Is this tax package sustainable for the short and long term? Right now, we're experiencing inflation. That impacts businesses and how many projects they're going to take on. We know the interest rate is increasing. That has a great deal of impact. We know that there's tremendous volatility in the stock market. That gives everyone pause. And so for these reasons and a few others, I ask fellow Nebraskans just to keep your eyes open on what this tax package does. I'm all for things that benefit our families, low and middle income families, but keep your eye out on this. You know, what we do is like, how can we attract and retain young families? How can we attract and retain our existing businesses and corporations? And it's something that I hope folks out there that are listening will certainly ask the tough questions of all senators, myself included. So thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Why not?
Senator John Kavanaugh, you're recognized to speak. This is your last opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think if Senator Hunt wanted the time, I would yield it to her, but I just would quickly point out that in the context of the broader conversation we've been having, we've got some folks from the Nebraska Association of Behavioral Health Organizations out there talking about the need for behavioral health care in the state, and I think that's been kind of a central point of the broader conversation we've had this year, and making sure that we are adequately funding these resources so people have access to behavioral health care. And I just thought that would be good. So if you have an opportunity to go out and talk to folks, I know they're pulling people out to talk about it, so take that opportunity if you've got it when there's plenty of time to go.
Now Senator Hunt.
So if Senator Hunt, I would yield my remainder of my time to Senator Hunt.
4 minutes, 15 seconds, Senator Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're talking about a generational gap. I had some other thoughts I wanted to share about this. I think that this is common for a lot of things. It didn't take as long for the general public sentiment around being gay to shift, as long as it took the law to shift. Public approval and acceptance and affirmation of gay men and lesbian women was in place long before the marriage equality, the Obergefell decision in the Supreme Court. And I think that we are going to see the same trajectory for trans Americans. I really hope so. I am personally not a believer in that Martin Luther King quote that says, the arc of justice, or what is it, the arc of the universe bends toward justice. This is something that advocates repeat often when times are tough, when it looks like we're not making a lot of progress. We say, well, the arc of the universe bends towards justice, as in, we might not see justice tomorrow, but we're going to keep working on it. Eventually it'll come. I don't personally actually believe in that.
I'd rather talk about how, planting seeds that you do not, that you'll never, rest in the shade of. I'd rather talk about it like that.
That progress and justice is an action, not an inevitability. I don't think that it's inevitable that right and just things are going to happen. And the reason I think that is, just from being in the legislature for 5 years, you see how public sentiment can swing one way and the radical people who are elected to represent them swing the other way. And it's social movement and backlash, this cycle over and over and over again. But one common thing that we hear people who don't understand trans identities say, it's the same thing we used to hear people say about gay identities, which some people still say, which is things like, why, Senator Groney used to always say this, why are you making everything about sex? Nobody cares who you sleep with.
Oh, really?
With this Bill 574 from Senator Kauth, it's turned into, don't sexualize kids. You're sexualizing children. And then that morphs into this groomer accusations and pedophile accusations and stuff like that. When really, I would earnestly submit that the people introducing these bills are the ones sexualizing kids. You know, they say things like, I have no problem with LGBTQ people, but why do you have to talk about sex so much? Nobody cares who you have sex with. But I would imagine that in reverse. You know, when someone heterosexual, when, you know, a friend says in front of a child, I went out with a guy to a movie last weekend, or my husband and I are having a picnic today, or
grooming.
I'm pregnant, I'm expecting a child.
Grooming.
Or you're invited to my baby shower. We never say, stop talking about sex. But to hear what you're saying to the LGBTQ community, don't you see that that's the same exact thing? Me putting a picture on my desk of my wife.
Okay. They are filibustering right now to prevent these anti-trans laws from going through, right? In Nebraska. So they are just taking time to and just saying stuff, and ultimately she is correct. But I will say this: these people don't care about how correct she is. They have never cared about the points that she is arguing, that she is destroying, frankly, very simply. They don't care. The point is, they want to eradicate trans people from society because they believe that the Bible should be the law of the land. That's what they want. I mean, you can make arguments about what the Bible wants or what the Bible actually preaches in regards to like LGBT people, but that's not the point. Is they don't give a shit about what your arguments are, no matter how correct you are, because you are correct. The facts, the science, the data, all of that shit is on our side, obviously. But the point is, they don't care. They argue whatever points that they can, no matter how stupid they are or how debunked they already are. They argue with whatever they have available to them because they are reactionary. It doesn't matter if they can't apply the same logic to something else that they believe and argue for. It doesn't matter because there's no coherent ideology. It's just all about a pure society, all about some bullshit about God, some fucking bullshit. It's just bullshit. They just want trans people dead. They want gay people dead. They want you out of society. Period. So I'm telling you this, in most cases, it is not worth it to debate with these people. In this case, we are filibustering. So, hey, do you? But most cases, it is not worth it for you to fucking argue with them. Do not legitimize people, especially like on places like Twitter or whatever. Do not legitimize them. Meme them. Talk shit about them. Talk shit to them. Laugh at them. That's it. Because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Everybody most normal people that are unaware of the specifics of the trans experience just generally don't give a fuck if you are trans or not. They don't care. Do you? Most people, that's the way that they think. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever the fuck. Most people in America do not give a fuck what you do. Don't care. So do not argue with them. Just meme these fucking assholes and get those people in the middle on our side out of not wanting to be associated with fucking people who are stupid as shit. Just flat out dumb as fuck. Tell them you fucked their dad and dip. Exactly. What's up, Love Slug?
Makes some of you come by and think about sex. What does that say about you? Trans kids existing makes some of you think about sex. What does that say about you? They aren't thinking about that.
Yo!
It's not
Yo!
a function of sexuality the way that you guys experience that as adults. And when LGBTQ plus people talk about their normal lives, going on a picnic, going to a baby shower, expecting a child, getting married, going on a date, many people sexualize that for no reason. And we're doing the same thing to kids with this bill, LB 574. That's why I think this is so toxic for raising the temperature politically.
Time, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator McKinney.
Shouts out to Senator Hunt. Shouts out to the people, our allies in Nebraska. If you are a cis, hetero, whatever, like, person, like, we need you now more than ever. Wherever you are, we need you and your help and your blessings and your voice now more than ever. The people that need to be arguing, if anybody's going to be arguing with these assholes, like I was just talking about, if anybody's going to be debating with them, it needs to be heteronormative, hetero cis people. Like, just straight up. Like, just straight up. We need our allies in that fight. I don't have the opportunity to get to argue with people and get their good faith. I don't get that opportunity. They already look at me and have a they had this they already have an idea of what they think about me and what type of person I am and where everything I believe comes from and whatever. So if you are cisgender and you are hetero, we need you now more than ever. Like I said, if anybody's going to be arguing, if anybody's going to be debating, it needs to be you. It needs to be you. She's hot. Who's hot? Trans rights. True. I talk my shit, bestie. Love you, Love Slug. Everybody go follow Love Slug. Everybody go follow Love Slug. We love our Love Slug. I got you and I do every day. Put me in the ring. Let's fucking go. Shouts out to you. Shouts out to you, legends. Shouts out to you, legends. We love y'all. We love y'all. For real, for real. For real, for real. All right, what's next? We already talked about Israel. Let's remove this from the playlist. All right, next up, we got Elon Musk destroying Twitter by desperately trying to force users to pay. Desperately trying to force users to pay. I have actually a unique experience with this that we'll go over in 3 minutes because it's been 1 hour since our last ad break. Oops, not that one. It's been 1 hour since our last ad break, so I'm gonna run an ad break now. When I run ads, I run them while I'm away from the stream. That way, even if you are unsubscribed, nobody misses anything. However, if you would like to support the stream, support me, the streamer, support our little wholesome community here, and also get access to cool Tofu Ghost emotes, and also an ad-free viewing experience, all you gotta do is subscribe for $4.99 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Or maybe you are already subscribed and you're feeling generous and you're able to, you have the means. Maybe consider gifting a sub to one of our friends in the chat so that they can get access to cool Tofu Ghost emotes and an ad-free viewing experience. I do this full time, so every little piece of help every little piece of support helps immensely and goes a very long way and is very much appreciated. We're currently at 0 out of 20 for our daily subscriber goal. Still getting started on that. If anybody has the means, it would be very much appreciated. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't you go anywhere. BRB, 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 BRB. Okie dokie, we're back. We're back. I just added this new little mix to this playlist. I don't know, some of the songs are banging. Some of them are kind of mid. All right, let's get into it. Elon Musk is destroying Twitter by desperately trying to force users to pay. Desperately. Yeah. Needs more ska. All right, let's get into it. Let's fucking get into it. Elon Musk is destroying Twitter by desperately trying to force users to pay.
Since Elon Musk took over Twitter, the platform has gotten so much worse for a number of reasons. Hate speech is rampant, trolls are emboldened, celebrity accounts are falling victim to phishing scams, and basic functionality isn't even an expectation for most users at this point, given how frequent outages are. And none of this is surprising, at least with regard to basic functionality, considering that Elon Musk fired so many crucial engineers. But as bad as things are now, they're about to get much worse because Twitter is rolling out new changes in April. And like all previous changes that Elon Musk has announced, well, it seems like nobody is satisfied with these changes. On March 23rd, the official Twitter verified account announced that all legacy verified checkmarks will be removed unless you pay Ellen $8 a month. And apparently he didn't learn anything from the last verification debacle because this is going to create a system where abuse is rampant. As Monica Lewinsky points out, there are multiple users impersonating her currently, and one of them is even verified.
Monica Lewinsky.
In what universe is it fair to people who can suffer consequences for being impersonated? A lie travels halfway around the world before the truth even gets out the door. And she is exactly correct about that. I mean, what is the point of verification at this point other than to tell the world that you are embarrassingly paying for a website that's free? Because it's not to verify identities, because the goal of verification...
It's not to get rid of bots. It's not to get rid of bots, because all the bot account needs to do is fucking pay for fucking Twitter Blue. Or not Twitter, whatever the fuck it's called. The fucking whatever, the check mark. Is it Twitter Blue? It's so fucking obnoxious.
Was to reduce the amount of people impersonating public figures and people of interest. But I mean, if that's not the case, if it's a clout thing and normies want check marks too, that's fine. I have no problem with that. Extend verification to anyone who's able to confirm their identity using a phone number or something, and voila. But you see, it's not about verifying accounts and reducing trolls or bots. It never has been. It's about Elon making back the money that he lost by overpaying for Twitter.
That's it.
But it unsurprisingly gets worse because Elon announced the worst change yet. Starting April 15th, only verified accounts will be eligible to be in For You recommendations. This is the only realistic way to address advanced AI bot swarms taking over. It is otherwise a hopeless losing battle. Voting in polls will require verification for same reason. Okay,
because that's what we need to solve the AI bot thing, right? Paywalls. Like, because the people who make bots can't just pay for the fucking, like, what, how does that verify anything? All that does is just like, it's all bullshit, right? It's all bullshit. It's just a fucking paywall. That's it. It's just to make money. It's not about getting rid of bots. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. He's just dicking around, dude. He's bored. You have to understand, this is like the richest dude on the face of the fucking earth, and he's just bored dicking around with the rest of humanity. He's just dicking around with it. Literally, he just doesn't care. He's just having fun. He's just having fun.
This is idiotic for so many reasons. Because first of all, Twitter never limited what you see based on who you follow. So to implement this change means you are fundamentally changing what Twitter is. And it puts everyone into more of an echo chamber, which I think is really bad. Second of all, if he's trying to make money by coercing everyone into paying him $8 a month, that's just not the best way to do it, considering other social media websites, they found a way to be profitable. They use algorithms to boost engagement and keep people on the platforms for as long as they possibly can, which is enticing to advertisers because eyeballs are what attracts advertisers. So if Elon forgoes the algorithm for the overwhelming majority of users who refuse to pay and just shows them the people who they're already following, that's going to likely reduce the overall engagement across the board, and people won't be on Twitter for as long, which could in turn devalue ads even more, which is a problem for a platform that is hemorrhaging advertiser dollars. But after seeing how poorly this announcement was received, he backtracked in true Elon fashion, writing, "Forgot to mention that accounts you follow directly will also be in For You since you have explicitly asked for them." Like, I genuinely...
So it's like the For You page that's supposed to be all the people you follow is just going to be also in the fucking other column now too. Like, okay, dude.
Cannot understand what he's doing here. Nobody can, even him. Now, I referenced how
he's just having fun, dude. He's just fucking
video, and when you consider how the algorithm is seemingly boosting motherfuckers who pay for Twitter, and you look at who's buying these accounts, then you kind of begin to see why the platform has gotten much worse. In an article from Mashable, Matt Binder explains, researcher Travis Brown, who has been tracking Twitter Blue subscriptions since January, recently revealed around half of all Twitter users subscribed to Twitter Blue have less than 1,000 followers. That's approximately 220,132 paying subscribers. Furthermore, 78,059 paying Twitter Blue subscribers have less than 100 users following their account. That's 17.6% of all Twitter Blue subscribers. Breaking down follower counts even further, there are 2,270 paying Twitter Blue subscribers who have 0 followers. That's a significant chunk of Twitter Blue subscribers being unable to crack even 4 digits worth of followers, even though some have subscribed believing it would help boost the growth of their Twitter account. According to this data, Twitter Blue currently has a total of 444,435 paying subscribers. Accounting for the limitations of pulling this data using the Twitter API, Brown tells Mashable that he estimates that Twitter likely has around 475,000 paying subscribers. So, yeah, and I might add, based on my unscientific observation, mind you, that most of these paid Twitter users seem to be right-wingers and or Ellen Dick writers.
Absolutely.
And
or unfortunately, sex workers. Now, this is important, right? Unfortunately, this also affects sex workers who, in a lot of ways, rely on sites like Twitter to advertise. It's vital. It's vital. So what has happened? It's not only is it a bunch of fucking right-wing goobers, but also, unfortunately, a lot of fucking wonderful sex workers are also having to fucking do this. Okay? It's really fucking unfortunate. But I'll say a secret, somebody I'm really, really close with, we'll say. Somebody that I'm extremely close with, who might be sitting right here in the room with me right now. Their secret Twitter has gone way down into nothingness, into shit, into crap, despite having lots and lots of followers and been fine on Twitter for a long time. Why? Well, because of the fucking changes to fucking Twitter. And that person that I know may have noticed that all of their mutuals are now verified users, because that's how you have to fucking, that's what you have to do. So, like, unfortunately, that person that I know is probably going to fucking have to do that. Like, unfortunately, they're probably gonna have to, which is such garbage.
With them seemingly being boosted in the algorithm, still, nobody wants to follow them. Thus, the overall Twitter experience will only continue to get worse if we're all seeing paid users over people who we actually want to see. And this is really sad, because the days where we discover
free scrolling,
we're not already following are numbered.
Also, light mode and free scrolling. Wait, look at this. Wait, this is great. Wait, hold on. This is my oh my god, trans timeline. Trans timeline, but also, yeah, light mode, dude. Seriously?
We're going to learn about new voices on Twitter who we're interested in learning about if one of the people we're already following happens to retweet them. So overall discoverability of new voices on the platform is going to be limited because of this change. And that doesn't even take into consideration the most petulant and downright bizarre changes that Elon has made to the platform since taking it over. Not only is the algorithm boosting him after he cried to Twitter's engineers about Biden's Super Bowl post getting more engagement than his, but as Insider reports, 35...
Bro, he's the president. You're surprised that the president is getting a lot of fucking engagement on Twitter? You dumb bitch.
Random VIP users are being boosted by the algorithm, and this includes LeBron James, Ben Shapiro, AOC, and fucking Cat Turd 2. It's just so weird, and I can't help but ask, why? Nobody knows why anything works the way that it does on Twitter, including Elon Musk. None of it makes sense. And also, he's boosting right-wing propagandists, but simultaneously elevating AOC's posts, who he has fought with. None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. So in conclusion, Elon Musk is a fucking moron, and any simp who mistakenly thought that he was uniquely brilliant because he has money is learning the hard way that meritocracy is a myth. Money does not, contrary to popular belief, increase a person's inherent value, and it sure as shit doesn't mean someone's a genius. So, in a way, I kind of appreciate Elon Musk educating the masses about the hubris and dumbfuckery of elites. Because no, Elon Musk is not a genius, and he never was.
Damn! I'm gonna come. I'm not going to come yet. I'm going to save it right now for this. We have a good amount of coverage of the Starbucks CEO hearing with the Senate committee. More specifically, our fucking guy, our fucking boy, certified home dog, Bernard Sanders. Tofu's edging us? Yeah. Yep. Mayor Pete, shut the fuck up. I hate you. Let's check it out. Starbucks CEO shredded by lawmakers for union busting violations. We also have another video. Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz loses it during embarrassing meltdown. We also have more perfect union talking about Bernie unloading. Hey, yo, unloading all over Howard Schultz at Senate hearing. Just unloaded all over him. Check it out.
Let's just start with a reminder that Howard Schultz did not want to attend that hearing today. He quit as CEO of Starbucks, timed it so that he wouldn't have to take any personal responsibility for what's going on at Starbucks when he showed up, and hopefully he wouldn't be called in. When Sanders said, no, we're going to call you in, he was like, well, I don't think I'm going to come. And then they had to threaten to subpoena him, which doesn't look good. And he would have had to come anyways. And so here's Howard Schultz and Ed Markey.
And Mr. Schultz, it's good of you to show up, but then again, you face little choice. It's disappointing to me that it took such a long time and required the threat of a subpoena for you to
subpoenas. Yep.
Here before this committee, and it's frankly disrespectful to your hundreds of thousands of employees, but we do appreciate you finally appearing here.
Yeah, there you go. And then at one point,
subpenis.
And Howard Schultz is, and I know this is an offensive thing to say, a billionaire.
Ahmed Maki. Yeah.
As much as he has built this company to help his workers, and he's doing so much for them.
Yeah.
He also has made billions of dollars. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Well,
yes.
I would argue.
Yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
it's
good.
Not his fault.
Let's
we
go.
should not allow it as a country and as a society. We should not allow that. He's just made billions, in part on the backs of workers. To be fair, also, once he left the company, according to Michelle Eisen, got much worse. And then he just came back in to bust the unions, and now he's gone again. The point being that that's why you need a union, because you can't always count on the largesse of a benevolent billionaire. But here is Howard Schultz. He's upset that you're calling him a billionaire because he's still a working class guy because he was one when he was younger.
Suck my fucking penis, you bitch. Fuck you. Oh my God, dog. How can you seriously say fuck you?
This monarch of billionaire, let's just get at that, okay?
I'm already triggered, bro. I take offense at this this word you keep calling me, billionaire, this moniker, billionaire.
I grew up in federally subsidized housing.
I don't give a shit where you grew up, buddy. Where did you sleep last night? That's what I want to know. Where did you sleep last night? How much money did you make? Huh? While your employees were struggling to keep roofs over their heads and were living paycheck to paycheck, how much money did you make? I don't give a fuck where you came from. I want to talk about right now. What's going on right now?
I grew up in federally subsidized housing.
Well, then you should have a little bit more, empathy then. A little bit more empathy then? Oh
my parents never owned a home.
Fuck you.
I came from nothing.
Fuck you.
I thought my entire life was based on the achievement of the American dream.
Oh, God.
Yes, I have billions of dollars.
But does that make me such a bad guy? Huh? Does that make me such a bad guy?
Earned it. No one gave it to me.
I earned it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you earned that. How much work did you actually do? How much work? Is what you do worth billions of dollars when the people that actually generated that money, the people that literally made that money, can't even fucking afford to fucking pay rent? With children, with families. Yo, Bipedal Humanoid, thank you so much. Thank you for gifting a subby to Ducky0987. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. First sub of the day. Holy shit. First sub of the day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Speaking of fucking being paycheck to paycheck, I really, really appreciate it. Sorry to interrupt. No. please, by all means, please interrupt in that manner. I appreciate it, Bipedal Humanoid. Thank you.
And I've shared it constantly with the people of Starbucks. And so
how? You've shared your billions with the people of Starbucks? More like they've unwillingly shared it with you. More like they didn't have a choice, but they shared it with you.
Keeps labeling this billionaire thing. It's
but you are literally a billionaire. You keep labeling me as a billionaire. Yes, I have billions. But why do you keep labeling me as a billionaire?
To cut you off, we have time limits here, and you have the opportunity. I'm not cutting you off.
Can you believe this asshole wanted to run for president? This fucking asshole.
Your moniker.
Not this asshole. Not this asshole. This asshole, we love him, and I hope he runs for president again. This asshole, okay? Wrong asshole. That other asshole, he's okay. This asshole.
Limits here, and you have the opportunity. I'm not cutting you off.
It's your moniker constantly. It's unfair.
No, it is not. You have had more time. I've been generous with the time. I'm sorry.
But Mr. Chairman,
we have a room full of people. We have panel to go after you. You're not the only person testifying.
Okay.
I love the fact that he says, I earned all this. Nobody gave me anything. Right after he said I'm in federally subsidized housing. And I have no problem with federally subsidized housing. I am in favor of more federally subsidized housing.
Yeah, sure.
But the fact of the matter is that, no, you didn't get it all by yourself. You wouldn't have gotten any of those jobs if you were homeless.
No.
I know that's not quite on the issue, but the idea that these guys...
You shared your billions with the people of Starbucks, but they made that money. They literally made that money. They created that. You keep wanting to label me as a billionaire. Yes, I have billions, but why are you labeling me as a billionaire?
Are just completely self-made. And that they're somehow unique and special because they have $1 billion or multiple $1 billion. That their uniqueness and specialness is why they have that money, as opposed to got really lucky in the right place at the right time. I'm sure most of them work very hard. But I also am sure that out of the 200 some odd thousand employees that Starbucks has, there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who work just as hard as Howard Schultz does. Just didn't have the same luck of whatever it was. I would also add that when this guy was working back when he was, minimum wage was keeping up with productivity. So he's bragging about paying $17 an hour above the minimum wage. It's really still about $5, probably less than it would have been relative to GDP and productivity.
Like I said before, when the fuck are we going to stop fucking asking these assholes to be nice?
But he complains about being called a billionaire because he knows it's a little bit creepy. It's a little bit creepy that we have people walking around who have the ability to fundamentally alter the structure of our society by deciding one day that they're going to expend their money this way or that way. He goes out there and I may run for president. Pays, I don't know, $5 million to a couple of stooges to be his campaign manager.
Can't even believe that shit happened.
Essentially threatens to empower Donald Trump president if Bernie Sanders becomes the nominee. People forget that.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. And he can do it because he's got billions of dollars. And you know what happens if he spends one of his billions of dollars? Do you know what he's not going to be able to do? Nothing. He could spend $1 billion
and still be
and still have trouble figuring out how to spend his remaining.
Dog, if I was walking down the street and I found $500 on the fucking ground, it would change my life. there would instantly be so much stress just immediately off my shoulders. There's like 4 or 5 different things that I could finally get done with that extra $500 that I keep pushing off because I'm riding the fucking very, very bare minimum of just being able to live, which ultimately accrues debt, which ultimately just barely making it just makes you accrue debt. Because sometimes I barely slide by, and then there's those things where you have literally 30 cents in your bank account. Oh, guess what? Fucking monthly upkeep charge from the bank. Now you're negative. Oh, boom, you're negative. Overdraft fee. Now you're in debt $50 with the bank when you had 30 cents before. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, that shit pisses, like, the amount of anger that I have for these assholes, it's just like, it's unmeasurable. Unmeasurable. You want to sit here and talk to the, our elected officials and thus the rest of the country and tell them that, like, you keep labeling me with this moniker of billionaire, but I came from nothing. Bitch, I still have nothing. Your workers still have nothing. Like, fuck you, you piece of shit. You could share more than half of your wealth and still be fine for the rest of your life and never want for anything. Talking about how you share your billions with the employees of Starbucks. Like, it's such bullshit on its fucking face. It's such bullshit.
That is a problem. Yeah, and Ed Markey at one point says in that same exchange that union busting is disgusting.
Bars.
And I liked it because he did it with his Massachusetts accent.
Yeah, the two coolest accents in the Senate. All right, let's see. Howard Schultz.
Bob K.
Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz. Lose it. Let's see him lose it.
Howard Schultz wants it both ways. He wants it like, we're not a union busting company.
Hey, what's up, Maya? Yeah.
Inhibiting the workers from unionizing. We're not busting the union. We're just trying to keep it from ever existing in the first place. Here's Bob Casey.
They were meetings to discuss Starbucks and the opportunity for our people. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Casey.
Mr. Chairman, thanks very much, and thanks for calling the hearing. Mr. Schultz, welcome, and I want to welcome the workers in this room who have had to do so much, expend so much effort over many years to have the right to organize and bargain collectively, so we stand with you in that effort. I think that's a right that every single worker in the United States of America should have, the right to bargain collectively, to organize for wages and benefits. And too often in our country, workers don't have that right. I represent a state where workers over generations marched and mobilized and literally bled and died for the right to organize. It wasn't conferred upon them by some CEO or some boss. They had to fight for it, and that resulted, of course, in the National Labor Relations Act, which is still in effect, still the law of the land, despite repeated corporate attempts to undermine it. So we have a lot to talk about, not just with regard to Starbucks, but for workers generally. I wanted to start, Mr. Schultz, with a discussion about one of the firms that Starbucks hired. I'm told that during your tenure as CEO, you hired Littler Mendelson, one of the largest and most notorious union-busting firms in the country, that reportedly charges upwards of...
Wait, their name is Littler?
$600 an hour for their services. It's been reported that in 2021, Starbucks shut down all stores in the Buffalo area, rented out the Hyatt Regency Hotel, flew you, Mr. Schultz, and Starbucks senior executives into town and forced workers to hear you give anti-union talking points. While Starbucks refuses to say how much they've spent on anti-union efforts, it's clear the company is willing to spend a significant amount of money on union-busting tactics. And guess what? Under current law, federal law, Internal Revenue Service law, Starbucks is able to write off those costs as a run-of-the-mill business
Now,
expense.
pause it for 1 second. Just to be clear, we just interviewed Michelle Eisen. She is an organizing member from that very first Starbucks in Buffalo, the first unionized. And she told us about this sort of like, they brought in what they called the SWAT team. She saw a document, SWAT team, where they brought in enough managers so that they were constantly under the watchful eye of managers from outside of Buffalo. They took over that Hyatt Regency. They spent millions upon millions, probably, on these union-busting lawyers. The way that they pretended that they were not having forced union-busting meetings was they would say to a worker, and anybody out there who works on an hourly basis understands this dynamic. You're counting on 40 hours a week. Maybe it's 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. Maybe you think you're also going to get some overtime, maybe 50 hours a week, whatever it is. That's what you count on so that you know how much money you're going to get at the end of the week and you're going to be able to pay your bills. Well, they come in and they say, you know what? On Wednesday, we're shutting the store down early. So you may be used to working 8 hours that day from 1 to 9 p.m., let's say, but we're closing the store at 2. So you're only going to get 1 hour that day. However, there is a voluntary meeting for 7 hours or 6 hours or 3 hours in which we'll give you 8-hour credit if you come to that meeting. So we'll actually pay you to go to that meeting. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to go to that meeting.
You're going to go to that fucking meeting.
This is the power that Schultz did.
When I worked for FedEx, we didn't even have there wasn't even a pay, on the clock. Or sometimes even they would ask you not to clock in yet, but they would talk to you. I was a dock worker, so I would walk out to the dock with a bunch of the other dock workers. We were responsible with driving the forklifts, unloading and loading the trucks or whatever the fuck. They would just, instead of just take an extra 10 minutes to, instead of handing out the work like they would normally do, they'd give you your manifests and then everybody would just break off and go start working. They'll stop and be like, let's talk about the protections that you have against these predatory unions that want to come in and get union dues from you. You should let us know if they're harassing you at work or outside of work, because it's against the law for them to harass you, and we want to make sure we protect you from these people. Wasn't even an extra meeting, or it was just a, hey, you're here. Hello. Let me just talk at you for a bit.
Yes. The blackmail. You want to eat. You want to pay for your kids' health care. You want to, whatever it is. You want to pay your bills. We hold the strings. You have no guarantees. And that's what was going on with those meetings there. And now Casey is saying, raising the point that we as taxpayers subsidize not just the cost of doing business, where I guess there's an argument there that, it's a tax, you don't get taxed on that revenue if you're using it on business expenses. But what constitutes business expenses? I mean, it's one thing to say hiring labor costs business expense. It's another thing to say buying coffee machines is a business expense. Renting, storefronts, buying storefronts, repairing storefronts, business expense. Advertising, business expense. But Casey brings up the fact that destruction of unions by a law firm whose job number one is to bust a union, that's a business expense? Why are taxpayers paying for that business expense? What's the value to society in busting that union at Starbucks?
Well, the money that they make, the extra money that they make in profits because of the lack of, unions and organized labor force, and the ability to lay people off and do what the fuck they want. Those profits that they would see, that would eventually trickle down to the people. You see? Well, that's how.
Starbucks is able to write off those costs as a run-of-the-mill business expense, meaning taxpayers are subsidizing union busting in the United States of America, including that of Starbucks. So, Mr. Schultz, I'd ask you, as a private citizen, in your personal capacity, do you believe that corporations should have the right to get a tax break, a taxpayer-provided subsidization, a tax break for union busting activities?
Senator Casey, you said a number of things I'd like to respond to, but...
Well, just answer that question first.
No, I will. I mean, Starbucks Coffee Company is following the tax laws and the law that Congress...
I didn't ask you about Starbucks. I asked you about your personal view.
Yeah.
Do you think that provision should stay as the law or should be changed?
My personal view is we should follow the law that Congress has set up.
Do you support that?
I support the law.
You support the provision that allows a company to hire union busting firms and conduct other activity that interferes with the rights of workers to organize. I understand it's the law, but you're saying you support it. You would not support it.
I mean, this is kind of a silly question, right? It's like, when, like I said, like 3 times already this stream, when the fuck are we going to stop asking the Howard Schultzes of the world to be nice? When are we going to stop asking them about their morals and their ethics? Because unfortunately, this fucking piece of shit asshole is right. It's the law, and he's following the law. Yeah, unfortunately, that's correct. So what do we do about this? Do we just continue to ask these assholes to be nice? Do we continue to ask them nicer and more politely next time when they continue to tell us no? Fuck you, kick rocks. When the fuck are we gonna change those laws? Interesting. Is
that correct?
I support the law, and I also take offense with you categorizing me or Starbucks as a union buster when that is not true.
Well, look.
The whole crowd laughing at his ass.
You go. Did you hear the laughter in the room?
Like, everybody, regardless of the law, we all know what you're doing. We all know how you're playing the system. We all know what you're doing. We all know the loopholes that you are taking advantage of. Yo, Adrian, thank you so much for 2 months. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Toph glowers, Toph smoke.
I'm always saying this. I'm literally always saying that. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Looks like we're now at 3? Wait, was there like a secret subby? I thought we were only at 2. Looks like we're at 3 out of 20 for our daily sub goal, which is very pog. Thank you so much. Thank you. I thought we were at 2. Just got a secret one in there. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Because those are all people trying to unionize their workplace. And have gone through all of the union busting that Howard Schultz was, and he will not answer that question. I mean, the argument for giving a tax deduction to a business expense is that pursuit of business, society wants to encourage it. They want to encourage it because maybe it creates employees, it expands the GDP. But we know what union busting does. Union busting drives down wages for workers. Union busting.
Hey, Adrian, thank you so much for gifting to Vexing. Very pog. Thank you so much. Vexing is a Poggers chatter that was locked out of their OG account. So very cool. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for the 2 gift subs you've gifted to the channel. I really appreciate that. Very, very generous.
Workers subservient.
Thank you.
To businesses. Society does not benefit.
Hey, 4 out of 20. Let's go. 4 out of 20 subbies. Let's fucking go. Thank you.
As a whole, because the shareholders get 25% more returns. Society as a whole is not benefiting because Howard Schultz has $3 billion instead of like $500 million. Now, society as a whole would benefit if 200,000 workers got raises, got better benefits, could rely on their hours We're treated better.
Yeah.
Because society does better when more people do better.
Whoa, what a concept. Wait, it's almost like society, the society that you speak of, is a group of people together, right? Existing in harmony or, existing. So like when you have a group of people within that group of people that are lifted up, you have more good is done for the whole of society as opposed to just that one person who was lifted way up. Way up. Oh, that's interesting how that works. That's so weird.
But there's just not a...
Tofu, why is cozy emote a blank and no blank is the cutest and I can't use it in other chats? The other one isn't even a cube. Wait, what is the question? Why is this the comfy emote and not this one? Well, because it's like more like the other comfy emotes. It's more like it follows like kind of the template of comfy emotes. This one, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, like what it is. But we have them both.
There's just not a single argument you could make that our society is better off because Howard Schultz is a multi-billionaire as opposed to just a multi-hundred millionaire. And I'm being generous with that. I'm giving him a couple $100 million.
What's he looking at?
All right, what else do we got here? Let's Al dente. Gee, Sam, why are executive salaries, business deductions, but employees' wages are not deductible? Either both should be or neither. I think both are business expenses. I'm not sure I follow that. Dr. Kalt, in my research into 19th century American history, the best example for the American dream I came across was a guy from Germany who came to the U.S. with nothing and died very rich. How did he get there? Luck, but also a lot of grift, corruption, and backroom dealings. There is no American dream. There's only corruption. Honest work very, very rarely results in riches. The rest is myth-making.
Well, I mean, that is obviously true when it is the case that everybody in our society cannot all be millionaires. If not everybody has if it isn't possible to have literally everybody be a millionaire, then there's no, to say that you just got to work hard to get there is bullshit, because that means by definition that you have to crawl over people in order to get up there. You have to push other people down and climb up on them, on top of others, and push them down in order to climb up that ladder. That's just what that means. In a society where not everybody can be that billionaire, then it's not true that anybody can just work hard to get there. By definition, that's just math. It's fucking stupid. It's like, clearly, in order for you to do that, if when that is the case, you had to exploit other people to get there. Just period.
I think you have an argument. Majority Report wardrobe coordinator. I know there's a running joke about Emma plotting a coup, but Bradley's the one alone in the room with the king right now. Just saying.
Okay. Okay, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Let's stay on the subject, though. And let's talk about Bernie unloading just all over Howard Schultz. Let's talk about Bernie unloading on this asshole.
18 months, Starbucks has waged the most aggressive and illegal union-busting campaign in the modern history of our country. That union-busting campaign has been led by Howard Schultz, the multi-billionaire founder and director of Starbucks, who is with us this morning only under the threat of subpoena.
Bitch, it's true though. But it's true though. You didn't want to come. Wait, bitch, fuck you. You didn't. Don't fucking shake your head, pussy. They had to subpoena you to get you here. They had to force you. Fuck you. Get that fucking stupid look off your dumbass face, motherfucker. They did have to subpoena you. Otherwise, you would have been arrested. You had to. Don't fucking... Shut the fuck up, dude. I know you weren't busy. Mr. Billionaire motherfucker started from nothing. Shut the fuck up.
Let's be clear about the nature of Starbucks' vicious anti-union efforts. The National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, has filed over 80 complaints against Starbucks for violating federal labor law. There have been over 500 unfair labor practice charges lodged against the company, and judges have found that Starbucks broke the law 130 times across 6 states since workers began organizing in the fall of 2021.
Now, how many fucking people are in jail right now for shit that shouldn't even be a crime, like possession of marijuana, for example? Like, how many people are in jail, rotting away for nonviolent crimes? And these motherfuckers can break laws in multiple states hundreds of times. And still tell the Senate, tell our lawmakers, our government, that they don't want to show up to a fucking hearing because they don't fucking feel like it. They have to be subpoenaed at the with the threat of arrest in order to fucking show up and talk to our lawmakers. Like, we live in a hell world, upside down fucking society. There are people rotting away in prison right now for much less.
These violations include the illegal firing of more than a dozen Starbucks workers for the crime of exercising their right to form a union and to collectively bargain for better wages, benefits, and working conditions. Since the first Starbucks union was certified more than 450 days ago in Buffalo, workers at more than 360 stores across 40 states have held union elections. 83% of these elections have resulted in a union victory, and today nearly 300 Starbucks coffee shops employing more than 7,000 workers have a union. Despite
now 7,000 people have that much more protection over their well-being. They have that much, 7,000 people now have that much more protection over their fucking ability to live.
Starbucks aggressive.
And this is just one man. Howard Schultz is one man who could pay the rents and the fucking debts of every single one of these fucking employees. One fucking man.
Union efforts. But with nearly 300 shops voting to form a union, Starbucks has refused to sign a single first contract with the union. Not a single one. Think about that. Think about a multi-billion-dollar company with unlimited resources, with all kinds of lawyers, advisors, consultants, and yet they have not yet signed one contract with any of their nearly 300 unionized shops. Just a few weeks ago, on March 1st, an administrative law judge found Starbucks guilty of, quote, egregious and widespread misconduct, end quote, which showed, quote, a general disregard for the employees' fundamental rights, end quote. In a 220-page ruling, this judge found that Starbucks illegally retaliated against employees for unionizing, promised improved pay and benefits if workers rejected the union, conducted illegal surveillance of pro-union workers, refused to hire prospective employees who supported the union, relocated union organizers to new stores, and overstaffed stores
Look at this asshole. He brought his fucking Starbucks cup, dude. Of course you did, you piece of shit.
All clear violations of federal
Like, do you think he turned around and looked at any of these people in the eye? Do you think he was able to look any of these people right here with the Starbucks union shirts on in the eye? Do you think he could?
Law. The judge also found that Starbucks, quote, widespread coercive behavior over 6 months had permeated every store in the Buffalo market, end quote. The judge ordered Starbucks to reinstate 7 workers who were wrongfully terminated, reopen a pro-union store in Buffalo that was illegally shut down, and pay, quote, reasonable consequential damages, end quote, to more than 24 Starbucks workers whose rights were violated by the company. And let us be clear, Starbucks' egregious union-busting campaign is not limited to Buffalo. It is happening all over America. Federal courts in Tennessee and Michigan have issued emergency injunctions requiring Starbucks to reinstate workers who were illegally fired and to prohibit the coffee chain from firing workers for supporting unionization efforts in the future. In Scottsdale and Phoenix, Arizona, the NLRB has charged Starbucks with committing 8 violations of labor law when it disciplined, fired, and forced out workers because they cooperated with federal investigations. On November 30th of last year, the NLRB found that Starbucks unlawfully refused to recognize and bargain with the union at its Reserve Roastery store in Seattle. NLRB judges have found that Starbucks illegally threatened to withhold benefits, including health insurance, from pro-union workers in Denver, Overland Park, Kansas, Seattle, Washington, and Ann Arbor, Michigan. The pattern in all of these stores is clear. On one hand, we have workers making $13, $14, $15 an hour with minimal benefits, working 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, maybe 40 hours a week.
In most of these cities that they're working in, that's not even a living wage.
Depending on a totally unpredictable schedule dictated by their managers. And these workers are out there struggling today to achieve dignity and justice on the job. That's what they are trying to do, and I applaud their efforts.
Based.
And on the other hand, we have a corporation worth some $113 billion, largely controlled by an individual worth some $4 billion, who are using their unlimited resources to do everything possible, legal and illegal, to deny these workers their constitutional right to form a union.
Look at this asshole making sure that the logo is pointing out.
The fundamental issue we are confronting today is whether we have a system of justice that applies to all, or whether billionaires and large corporations can break the law with impunity. I have read Mr. Schultz's comments to the media, in which he expresses his strong anti-union views. As an American, Mr. Schultz is entitled to those views and any other views he holds. But even if he is a multi-billionaire and the head of a giant corporation, he is not entitled to break the law. So today I will be asking Mr. Schultz whether he will do what an administrative law judge has ordered him to do, and that is to record and distribute a 14-page notice which states that Starbucks has violated federal labor law, to inform Starbucks employees all across this country about their rights under the National Labor Relations Act, how Starbucks has violated those rights, and to assure that Starbucks will not infringe upon those rights in the future.
Ooh, that would hurt.
In other words,
ooh, that would hurt.
Asking Mr. Schultz whether or not he intends to obey the law. Further, I will be asking Mr. Schultz another question. and that is whether or not he is prepared to promise this committee that within 14 days of this hearing, Starbucks will exchange proposals with the union, something that it has refused to do for more than 450 days.
Jesus Christ.
So that meaningful progress can be made to bargain a first contract in good faith.
Good faith.
And let me conclude by saying that what is outrageous to me is not only Starbucks' anti-union activities and their willingness to break the law, it is their calculated and intentional efforts to stall, and to stall.
For the love of God, Bernie, I love you to death. Please clear your throat. It's like, please.
Understand that the turnover rate at Starbucks and many other similar type companies is high. They understand that if workers do not see success in gaining a contract, they are going to get discouraged and give up the fight. At a time when we want, in this difficult time in our country, for people to stand up,
justice delayed is justice denied.
Rights, to try to destroy the spirit of thousands and thousands of people who are fighting for justice. That, to my mind, is unforgivable. Do you understand that in America, workers have a fundamental right to join a union and collectively bargain to improve wages, benefits, and working conditions? Do you understand that?
I understand, and we respect the right of every partner who wears a green apron, whether they choose to join a union or not.
Are you aware?
Oh, really? Oh, really? But how come there's been people who have been fired? Wait, so what about all the shit that I just got done telling you? All of the instances in which the people who were fired were reinstated in their positions because they were found to have been done because of union busting, like for the reasons of union busting. So what about that?
NLRB judges have ruled that Starbucks violated federal labor law over 100 times during the past 18 months, far more than any other corporation in America.
Sir, Starbucks Coffee Company unequivocally, and let me set the tone for this very early on, has not broken the law.
Okay. Are you aware?
People laughing at him because it's stupid and funny as fuck. You literally have broken the law. You literally have broken the law. Like, that's what we just got done telling you. Why are you lying?
That on March 1st, 2023, an administrative law judge found Starbucks guilty of, quote, egregious and widespread misconduct, end quote, widespread coercive behavior, and showed, quote, a general disregard for the employees' fundamental rights, end quote, in a union organizing campaign that started in Buffalo, New York in 2021. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware that those are allegations. And
those aren't allegations anymore. They were found guilty.
Created a process that we are following, and we're confident that those allegations will be proven false.
All right, Mr. Schultz, before answering the following questions, let me remind you that federal law at 18 U.S. Code Section 1001 prohibits knowingly and willfully making any fraudulent statement.
Yo, you know that if you lie to me, I'm a fucking come for your ass. You lie to me right now? Ooh, boy.
I understand that.
Were you ever informed of or involved in a decision to fire a worker who was part of a union organizing drive?
I was not.
Were you ever informed of or involved in a decision to discipline a worker in any way who was part of a union organizing drive?
I was not.
Have you ever threatened, coerced, or intimidated a worker for supporting a union?
I've had conversations that...
You know how quick he was to say, no, definitely not. Definitely no. And then this time he's like, well, listen.
Intimidated a worker for supporting a union.
I've had conversations that could have been interpreted.
Oh, I'm sorry. He said, I'm sorry you took it that way. Classic abuser shit. Yo, I'm sorry if you took it that way, but that's not what I meant. I'm sorry that you took it that way, but that's not what I was saying. That's not what I was doing. That's not what was going on. I didn't do that. Like, you might have you know, understood it that way, but that's not the way that I understood it.
In a different way than I intended. That's up to the person who received the information that I spoke to him about.
Were you informed
Piece of shit.
Or involved in the decision to withhold benefits from Starbucks workers in unionized stores, including higher pay and faster sick time accrual?
My understanding, when we created the benefits in May, 1 month after I returned as CEO, my understanding was under the law, we did not have the unilateral right to provide those benefits to employees who were interested in joining a union.
Am I hearing you say that you were involved in the decision to withhold benefits from Starbucks workers in unionized stores? Is that what I'm hearing?
It was my understanding that we could not provide those benefits under the law.
Mr. Silch, have you ever asked a Starbucks worker, quote, if you hate Starbucks so much, why don't you go work?
Let's go. Why don't you just go? Why don't you just move? Well, why don't you leave? Oh, you hate America so much. Why don't you leave? You hate... If you don't like the way we do it here, then why don't you go do it somewhere else? Huh? Why don't you leave? Bro, you can't make this shit up, dude. You can't make this shit up. What's up, Chloe?
Glad you asked that question because I've read in the press that quote, and that's not exactly what I said. Can I tell the story? Do you mind?
I have some other questions. I'm sorry. There are a lot of people.
I think it's important to hear the facts.
All right, you'll have your chance.
Fuck you, pussy.
You are accused of breaking federal labor law, something that you have been accused of doing nearly 100 times since 2021.
Mr. Chairman, let me say under oath, these are allegations and Starbucks has not broken the law.
Bro, they aren't
Mr. Schultz,
allegations
were you
anymore.
Informed of or involved in this?
Bro, they're no longer allegations.
All Buffalo area stores in November 2021, just days before area union elections, in order for Starbucks employees to listen to you give a speech on why they should vote against forming a union, a meeting the NLRB has determined was a violation of the law.
I think this is another area that I hope I get a chance to speak about. For the last 12 months, my involvement, my engagement, and my return to Starbucks has been primarily, I would say 95%, focused on the operations of our business, the customer, domestically and around the world. My involvement and engagement in union activities, despite this event today, has been de minimis. I was not involved in any issue of closing stores.
Are you aware, Mr. Schultz, that an administrative law judge ordered you to record and distribute a video of yourself reading a notice to Starbucks employees about their rights under the National Labor Relations
What's up with
Act,
that?
how Starbucks violated those rights, and to assure that Starbucks will not infringe upon those rights in the future, and that this notice must be posted in all Starbucks stores and shared digitally to all of Starbucks employees. Are you prepared to read that notice?
No, I am not, because Starbucks Coffee Company did not break the law.
So, like, are we just going to continue to say that? Are they going to, like, we're just going to continue to say that, right? We're just going to say, like, no, I'm not going to do that because that didn't happen. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Put me in jail? He's a billionaire. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. What are you going to do? Oh, little old U.S. government. What the fuck you gonna do? I'm the fucking CEO of a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation. What the fuck are you gonna do?
Under your leadership, Starbucks has repeatedly refused to bargain with any of the 7,000 workers in nearly 300 stores where workers have voted to represent themselves through a union. The first group of workers to win their election have been waiting more than 460 days to reach a first contract. Mr. Schultz, will you commit right now that within 14 days of this hearing, Starbucks will exchange proposals with the union, something it has refused to do for more than 450 days, so that meaningful progress can be made to bargain a first contract in good faith? Will you make that commitment?
Because the arrangement that was made by the union and the NLRB in Buffalo to negotiate one single store at a time, we have met over 85 times for a single store. We've tried to arrange over 350 separate meetings. We've said publicly, and I say it here again, that we believe that face-to-face negotiations is the way to proceed. And the reason I
Then how come you guys don't show up to them? How come you guys don't show up to them?
Make that point is that there have been safety issues in which Starbucks managers have been
Safety issues. Safety issues. See, we believe that we need to do this face to face. That's the best way to solve this, face to face. But the problem is we can't meet face to face because the dangers that are posed to managers, because the safety risk for managers. But, you know, we're trying really hard to have these face-to-face meetings. That's the only way that we want to do them. But also, you know, it's dangerous.
Privacy issues. We don't want to do it on Zoom. We are prepared to meet face-to-face on a single store issue.
Will you make a promise to this committee that you will exchange proposals with the union so that we can begin to make meaningful progress?
On a single store basis, we will continue.
God damn it, you're such a piece of shit. Good faith. Good faith. Why'd you cut him off? I wanted to hear more.
So.
It's so fucking frustrating. Holy fuck. Holy fuck, dude. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Fuck that guy. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. It makes me just so endlessly fucking angry that there are people out there like this. They have billions of dollars. There are people sleeping in the streets tonight. Like oh my God, it never, like I'm not like, it's not like this is the first time I'm finding out that like billionaires exist. You know what I mean? It's just that like this thing, it's just, it never ceases to frustrate me. Like oh, it's so fucking, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. It's infuriating. And you know, Howard Schultz looking kind of yummy. You know what I'm saying? Looking kind of yummy. Looking kind of scrum-diddly-umptious. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm kind of hungry. Hey, chat. You guys hungry? I am. I'm hungry. I know the Starbucks workers are hungry. I know the Starbucks workers are hungry. He's looking yummy. He looking good. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum. Yum 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 yum. Anyways, next up, chat. We got some more slightly light, we're getting to the end of our like serious stuff, right? This is kind of like our last more serious thing. From Oliemi has her own YouTube channel now. Why is Rikers still open? Why is Rikers Island, more like Yikers, somebody said in the chat earlier, still open? The war on bail reform. This will be really interesting. This will be really interesting, and this is what we're going to watch next, but chat, guess what? Yeah, you fucking guessed it. It's been an hour since our last ad break. It's been an hour. I run ad breaks every hour, and when I run ad breaks, I run them while I'm away from the stream. That way, even if you are unsubscribed, nobody misses anything. However, if you would like to support the stream, get access to cool Tofu Ghost emotes on top of your ad-free viewing experience, all you gotta do to do that is subscribe for $4.99 or for free by using Twitch Prime, by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Or maybe you're already subscribed and you have the means to, and you're feeling generous and you want to help out one of our friends in the chat. Maybe consider gifting a sub to one of our comrades in the community. That way they can also enjoy an ad-free viewing experience and cool-ass Tofu Ghost emotes. We're currently at 4 out of 20, nice, for our daily subscriber goal. I do this full time, so every little piece of support helps immensely and is very much appreciated. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't you go anywhere. BRB, BRB, BRB. Don't go anywhere. BRB. Okie dokie, we're back. Okie dokie. Okay. What's up, Fair King? What the?
Senator Sanders donated $4. Starbucks is a corporation worth $113 billion controlled by an individual worth nearly $4 billion who are using their unlimited resources to do everything possible, legal and illegal, to deny these workers their constitutional rights. Hot beverage.
True, Senator Sanders. Thank you so much, Bernie. Thank you, Bernie, for the $4. Appreciate that. Very true. Yeah, real big fan of your work. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, well, that just squirted everywhere. Hey, yo. Bernie, thank you so much for the $4. Appreciate you. Very, very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. Oh, that was for you, by the way. Hydrate. Everybody remember to hydrate. Okay. I think that was supposed to be $4 billion. Oh, fuck. Well, Bernie, listen. I'm still streaming. I'm still here. If you need to give me the rest of that $4 billion, listen, I'm ready. I'm ready for you, baby. Hey, Fairy King. Thank you so much for gifting to Nikki Bex. Pog, thank you so much. Thank you. Very, very, very generous of you. Everyone remember to suck it? Hey, yo. I mean, hydrate. True. Por qué no los dos? Thank you so much, Fairy King. Thank you. And thank you for the 78 gifties to the channel in total. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Now we're at 5 out of 20 for our daily sub goal. Very pog. What's up, Nikki? All right. Why is Rikers still open, chat? What's going on there? Why is Rikers still open? That's weird. Seems weird. Ooh, look, Bats Maru. I love Bats Maru. Let's get into it. I don't think we've watched any of Oluyemi's videos on stream before. She just started this YouTube channel, so let's give it a try. Let's give it a go.
So, y'all mean to tell me that it doesn't strike you as strange that in New York City, a city with almost 10 million people, 42% of whom identify as white people, 92% of the people incarcerated at Rikers are black or brown?
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
New York State was not the first state to pass bail reform, but in many ways, when New York State passed landmark bail reform in January 2020, that was the beginning of what became a nationwide war on bail reform. Today, I want to walk you through that history, the most recent attacks by Governor Kathy Hochul, and why and how this impacts the Rikers crisis. But first, let's talk about what New York State is and isn't in terms of bail reform and crime. New York City cannot decide whether or not it wants to masquerade as a progressive utopia or Gotham City. Neither of which is true. Despite what they'll have you believe, that New York City is this lawless, crime-ridden city because it's run by feel-good Democrats who won't be tough on crime. Reality is that if you want to make an example out of a city that doesn't invest in policing and mass incarceration, baby, do not look at New York City. Not only is New York City far safer than any Republican rural area per capita.
Hey, yo, real as fuck. Real as fuck. Crime rates in Republican states.
Arrests in New York City, as well as nationwide, are for misdemeanors, traffic offenses, and non-violent crime. But 86% of all felony charges in New York City are ultimately dismissed. But not only that, there are 36,000 NYPD officers, and they are given almost $11 billion each year. For context, that's more money than the Ukrainian government gave to the Ukrainian army at the start of their war. And on top of that almost $11 billion in funding that NYPD gets, they're on track to spend almost an additional $1 billion in overtime. And then Rikers gets $800+ million yearly too. And I don't know, maybe you forgot about a little thing like our mayor is also NYPD. But there is a war on bail reform in New York City because all those feel-good Democrats they think are in charge don't seem to think there's a correlation between this being one of the most expensive cities on the fucking planet and crime and homelessness. We've taken on de Blasio. We've taken on former disgraced Governor Cuomo.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Who snuck in the first set of rollbacks into an emergency COVID relief package at the start of the pandemic and lockdown. Then resident op Eric Adams when he came through like the Dolores Umbridge ass nigga he is. And now most recently, Governor Kathy Hochul. Hochul wants to remove the least restrictive means standard that judges use when making decisions in bail eligible cases. Bail eligible means cases where they're allowed to set bail. This is the only standard that exists. It requires that judges impose the least restrictive means possible when setting bail conditions to assure a person returns to court. The translation is, you cannot do the most, okay? You can do just enough based on what you know about this person or their record or evidence that they have not returned to court at some other time to make sure that they get back. You can't just look at people and decide based on how you feel and what you think of them and your perceptions. You could decide, oh, they're dangerous or I want to set higher bail. If Hochul gets her way, judges will have no legal standard to base their bail decisions on, meaning the result will be complete arbitrariness. And judges can do whatever they want based on how they feel, which means more Black and brown New Yorkers in jail. Governor Hochul is fighting for these bail reform rollbacks despite the fact that she knows that bail reform is not linked to a rise in crime. Now, what do I mean by she knows? I mean she wrote an op-ed in the New York Daily News saying so. And I quote, "Blaming bail reform for the increase in violence that cities across America are facing isn't fair and isn't supported by the data. Doing so risks distracting us from what are likely far more significant factors. Upheaval from
Is she
the pandemic,
holding the mic? Is she holding the mic?
ability of illegal guns, increased gang activity, lower arrest rates, and a backed-up court system, to name a few. So why is Kathy Hochul deciding to join Eric Adams in what she knows is a factually untrue crusade to, one, manufacture a crime wave that the New York Times was careful to wait until after the midterms to finally acknowledge was manufactured, and
Wait, go back. I want to see that. Leftist audio, real. It's wild to see the NYT say this when they were one of the main media outlets responsible for fueling this crime hysteria, lying about bail reform, and not accepting op-eds from people like myself who actively tried to debunk the fear-mongering. I truly have to laugh.
that the New York Times was careful to
What the?
until after the midterms to finally acknowledge was manufactured, and two, to pin said manufactured crime wave on
Not everyone has a broken
I
mic
guess for
stand.
the same reason that despite being a new governor who was barely elected by the
Wait, but it's standing right now. So it's like the audio sounds so much better. Like it doesn't cut out at all when like you're not holding it. Just like I'm just saying. I don't know.
of her teeth because of what many
Let me shut up.
and I do share these beliefs, was because she failed to fight the
What's up, Simon Five? What's up? She doesn't love you.
perpetuated by Top Cop Adams and parroted back by her nut-ass right-wing opponent Lee Zeldin. The first thing she decided to do once elected was alienate her whole damn party by digging her heels into nominating LaSalle, an anti-union, anti-choice judge, to the highest court, which failed, by the way. And that reason is?
Let's find out.
I don't know. They must have something on Shorty.
Where's my money, man?
But what I do know are the facts about bail reform and why these baseless attacks do nothing but exacerbate the ongoing human rights crisis at Rikers. Everyone's heard about Rikers, yet very few people seem to be aware of the fact that it's a pre-trial detention center.
Yes.
Which I do believe is something in and of itself worth noting. Think about that.
Yeah, when people die there that haven't even gone to court for their crimes, call that that capital punishment. Call that capital punishment. That's state murder. Like, why are there people dying before they even get to trial?
Rikers has been open since 1932. That's almost a century of torturing Black and brown New Yorkers on a daily basis in a city that at any given time has millions and millions of people. Yet, it was viral news when but one gal, told people that it was a pretrial detention center, which really speaks to one central truth. The devil works hard, but propaganda works so much harder. Because normally, awareness of an issue is a good thing, but they've turned Rikers' infamy against it. So people believe it's infamous because it's this super terrible place for super terrible people and not a pretrial detention center that looms as a threat over the heads of any poor New Yorker who could be accused of something as simple as stealing a bear or stealing a backpack. Over 85% of the people incarcerated at Rikers have not been convicted of a crime. They're being held there because they don't have the money to purchase their freedom.
Hello.
And because people...
Cash bail, baby. Cash bail. Who suffers more because of the existence of cash bail? Oh, I don't know. People who don't have cash. We could call them the poor.
Purchase their freedom and fight their cases from the outside. They're often forced to take pleas and criminal convictions that they otherwise wouldn't have so that they can get out of the hellscape that is Rikers. And I want you to think about that. When the next time you see an article where they're sensationalizing, oh, this person has 64 criminal convictions, think about it happens. That is usually a sign of somebody was homeless or mentally ill and they're being arrested for petty trivial things.
Okay, I hate that there's this kind of fucking stock footage.
Court is saying to them, you can plead to the charge now, plead to the charge at arraignment, or we can set bail on you and you'll go to Rikers. And that happens enough time and you end up with this long rap sheet that will be weaponized against you at a later date. But one of the more well-known tragedies at Rikers that in many ways launched a campaign to close it was what happened to Kalief Browder.
Court records show Kalief had attempted suicide at least 6 times, spent 1,110 days behind bars, more than 800 of those in solitary confinement. His court date postponed more than 30 times. He endured all this having never been given a trial, never convicted of a crime.
Dude, what? What? Fucking what? Like, we're running that back. We have to run that back.
Happened to Kalief Browder.
Court records show Kalief had attempted suicide at least 6 times, spent 1,110 days behind bars.
How many fucking years is that? How many days are there in a year? 365? Like, are you kidding me?
More than 800 of those in solitary confinement.
God, man.
His court date postponed more than 30 times. He endured all this having never been given a trial, never convicted of a crime. Finally, in June of 2013, all charges against Kalief were dismissed. But his experience exposed a troubled criminal justice system and the brutality of life behind bars.
It's important to remember that what happened to Kalief Browder was not an anomaly. I think about Aileen Polanco, a 27-year-old trans woman who died in Rikers on $500 bail. I think about 24-year-old.
Remember when I fucking just said, God. Remember I was just telling you, I'm not trying to make this about me, but it's just an example, because I know a lot of people feel me on this. I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm just as a relatable example that a lot of people can relate to, I'm sure in this chat even as well. If I was walking down the street and if I found $500 on the street, it would literally change my life. Like, this person was not able to fucking get out of jail because of a $500 cash bail. $500. They didn't have $500 or a friend or a family member that had $500 to fucking help them out and get them out of jail temporarily while before their trial. And because they didn't have $500, they were forced to stay in jail in Rikers, and because of that, they died.
Izzy Johnson.
So it's not crazy to say that because you were poor, you died. You died because you were poor.
Who died in Rikers on $1 hold. I think about
$1.
Brandon Rodriguez, who died at Rikers after he was left in a crowded intake pen for days, where he was beaten and then left in a locked shower stall, where he eventually hung himself in that shower stall. And they didn't even tell his mother. They had to find out in a Facebook post. I think about Stephen Kadu, whose mother spoke at a Rikers rally we held last year, where she said this.
My name is Lasandra Kadu. Stefan Kadu, who lost his life on the boat, aka the barge, was my son. The boat is an extension of Rikers Island. No mother should go through what I've gone through and still going through. I got a call on September 22nd around 10 o'clock. Another inmate called my daughter screaming that my son was dead. That's how I found out my child was dead. I haven't seen my son in 2 years because of the pandemic. I seen Zoom visits. Last time I seen my son was September 28th. My son turned 24 September 11th. My son died September 22nd, awaiting trial. Everyone there is awaiting trial. They're, like she said, they're not convicted of a crime. They're just waiting, and they shouldn't have to die.
No.
We need to decarcerate now before someone else loses their lives. Another mother goes through what I'm going through every day. It's 5 months that I'm waking up without my son, and it's the most hurtful thing that I have to go through. To find out that there was a 16th person yesterday when I thought that I keep going and my son would be the last 12, which it doesn't make sense because there's 16 more. 4 more, it made 16. I'm going through this. Every mother who has a son, again, every mother who has a son in jail, in its jail system, should be outraged. Any human being should be outraged, let alone a mother that's not getting up and speaking. I'm speaking for every person in that building. Every mother, again, should be outraged on the system, on how they treating people. Take action. Do something. Say something. Speak up. Do something.
So in 2019, the campaign to close Rikers emerged, and advocates introduced a plan to shut it down by first reducing the jail's population to 3,300. Because as it stands, Rikers was built to hold a maximum of 3,000 people. Yet there are over 5,000 people being incarcerated at Rikers right now, which is why people are being piled on top of one another, why people are being held and locked in shower stalls, why the inside of Rikers looks like this.
People literally covered in their own shit. People literally covered in their own fucking shit because they have to shit in this. Do you see space to be able to walk around and even use a corner? Do you even see space for everybody in this cell to fucking designate a corner for fucking feces and piss? Like, oh my fucking God, bro.
Instead, what former Mayor de Blasio agreed to was closing Rikers in exchange for 4 more jails in its place.
Is it crack? Is that what you smoke?
He smoked crack. Nonetheless, that's why bail reform was and is essential to decarcerating Rikers, so it can eventually be closed. And it's been successful.
What's up, J-Rocket?
200,000 people
What's up, Oscar?
who would have otherwise been unable to purchase their freedom have been able to fight their cases from the outside. And a higher percentage of people showed up to their court dates after bail reform was enacted. The failure to pay rate in New York City fell from 15% in 2019 to 9% in 2021 after the enactment of bail reform. Yet, bail reform has been under constant attack. There is a misconception that people have around bail that is perpetuated in the media, and that's that bail has something to do with your safety, or that bail is there to circumvent the entire criminal legal process and punish people for things they've been bare bones accused of. It's not. The legal...
Well, they'll say that it's like to ensure that people come back. They'll say that it's like to make sure that people come back and come and show up to court. But like she said, there's data that shows otherwise, that's a fucking bullshit.
The purpose of bail is to ensure a person returns
there you
to
go.
court. That's it. The idea behind cash bail, which is a nonsensical one, is that a person is more likely to return to court if they paid for their freedom, which in application means nothing other than rich people can buy their freedom and poor people
Right,
cannot.
yeah.
Which is precisely why over 80% of people arrested nationwide in America made less than $12,000 annually. And over 400,000 of the almost 2 million people incarcerated in this country are being held pre-trial. America preys on the poor. If you let the New York Post, or sadly, even the New York Times tell it, crime is out of control in New York City because the bail laws, people are committing crime nonstop and getting out of jail.
Bail is just pay us for your freedom, truly.
The lies! There you go, this bitch. I'm telling you. Bruh, first of all, New York City still has a cash bail system. Mind you, you know who doesn't? New Jersey. New Jersey completely abolished their cash bail system in 2014 under Republican Governor Christie. But notice how you didn't hear a peep about that, huh? That's suspicious. And if you're ever released on your own recognizance, one of the conditions of that release is that if you don't get rearrested, because if you do, the judge can set bail on you. So even if you are charged with one of the select offenses that judges are no longer allowed to set bail on in New York City, if they release you and you get rearrested for something else, they can and likely will set bail on you. Period. But regardless, 99% of all people, regardless of bail or otherwise pretrial conditions, were not rearrested for any alleged violent felony in New York City since the passing of bail reform. 99%. All New York City bail reform did was make it so that judges could no longer set bail on the first arrest for traffic infractions, violations, most misdemeanors, and non-violent felonies. And on cases where bail could still be set, the prosecutors and the judges have to actually articulate a reason, some kind of proof, reason to believe that that person is not going to return to court without further conditions. And they have to set the least restrictive means to make sure that person returns to court. Meaning, you can't wild out. Guns, violence, murder, any of that other sensationalized the New York Post pretends is the majority of crime in New York City, cash bail can and absolutely will be set on you if you do any of that shit. And that's if you're lucky and they don't remand you altogether. So in conclusion, Governor Kathy Hochul is our conch shell of the week, and I suggest she stop around with Eric Adams before she around and don't get reelected. Did y'all know Langston Hughes had a big-ass monkey named Jocko? Yeah, bro. Hans was walking around Harlem with a big-ass monkey named Jocko. Learn something new every day.
Oh. Okay. Cool. Good video. Good video. What does this say? I'm an abolitionist for many reasons, but stories like these that stress the importance of capital to regaining freedom, whatever that means, just make my blood boil in a way I don't know what to do with. Anyways, I'm grateful for you, Oliemi. You constantly help me understand carceral issues deeper, give me a wider vocabulary to talk about it with people in my life, and also make me laugh while doing it. I hope that I can do the bare minimum of stepmom's plea and talk about it, make people aware. Nice. Good video. She just started this YouTube channel, so everybody go follow and like and whatever, subscribe and all that. All of that. All right. That's enough serious stuff. Okay, that's enough serious stuff. Let's chill out. Q shaman shows up to NYC courthouse. Probably not the OG QAnon shaman, but let's check it out. Walter Masterson video, new.
America! Save Trump! If the news causes you to question your worldview or makes you feel insecure about it, then it's what? Fake! Fake! Let's pretend like the news just said something that makes you feel less pride about your political camp. What are we gonna say to the news? You're fake!
Nice. Nice.
We're going to the battle! I'm invoking the God of calling, God of war! We're here to protect our rightful president!
Get out of the street.
I'm gonna channel to the judge. Channel to the judge. I'm gonna astral project when that judge is asleep, and I'm gonna enter his dreams. And I'm gonna tell him to quit Trump.
I have a feeling this isn't a real Trumper.
What are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? Bro, what are you doing, bro? You look stupid doing this shit, bro. Stop doing this, bro. This is my religion. No, bro, you're a Trump supporter, bro. We don't do that. You looking real crazy right now, bro. We don't do that. You're like you to say what Trump supporters do. Bro, I'm a Trump. I'm from Trump, bro. I'm letting you know. But we have ranking in this shit, bro. What are you doing? What do you mean? Am I going outside the bounds? Bro, you acting crazy, bro. Of what? You're like, oh, what are you screaming?
This Trumper's like, yo, this is not good optics, bro. Yo, bro, listen, I'm for Trump, but this is bad optics, bro.
Everybody calls us crazy, sir. No, I'm saying no. I think you're a Democrat, bro. I think everybody. I don't think you're for Trump. This man is not for Trump, bro. The thing that we don't act like that. I've been rejected by every single community of people that I've been a part of, and even in the Trump supporter community. Even yes, I was picked on and made fun of so much growing up, and then I finally feel like I found a community of people that loves me. Yes, I belong. Yes, I love Trump. That's why I'm here. That's why I put on all this stuff. You challenge the status quo. They saw you speak. You don't support Trump. They also thought Trump was fake, didn't they? They're saying that you're fake. Who are these people? The internet.
The internet.
Oh my God, the internet says. Oh my God, the internet said JFK is coming back. Oh my God. No, you just trust the internet so freely, don't you? I don't. Don't be a sheep. I'm not. I'm watching.
I don't.
You better be for Trump.
You better be. You better be, bro.
You're a plant, bro. I need a hug. Will you give me a hug? Yeah, you're gonna get one. I'm an American patriot. So
hell yeah.
I'm checking you, bro. And I'm checking you as a citizen. Yeah, I'm checking you too. No, you can't check me. You are plant. You're provided. Show us your wire. You got more wire. Show us your wire.
Show us your wire. Show us the wire. I know there's a wire.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you. Show us the wire. I'm not wearing a wire. I'm not wearing a wire. All right. Yes. I'm not wearing a wire. Man, you out here tripping in front of the public. They're gonna lock your ass. I'm not wearing a wire. You wanna see? You wanna see? I'm not. If you wear a wire, he ain't going nowhere. Yeah. You wanna see? You wanna see that I'm not gay? You wanna see? All right. Look, here's a manly shirt. It says that's a manly shirt right there. All right. You wanna see? That wire. Come right there. That wire. Right there. Wire.
Let's go. I accept you, my brother, my comrade. No wire. Trumper confirmed. Let's go. Freedom. Let's go, Trump. Let's go, Trump. Yeah.
All right, guys, let's charge. Let's charge in the battle. Let's charge in the battle. Put your clothes back on. Put your clothes back on. Put your shit back on. This is whoa! Is it okay for me to yell? Come on, it feels good. It feels good. We can walk around topless in New York. Like, it feels good when you try to convince him it's okay to be a Trump supporter. He's good. He's valid. He's valid. He got a pass. Yeah.
He's good.
He got a pass.
Nah, he's good. He's good. Confirmed Trumper.
You are. I see. If you're a plant, you're gonna pull your card.
Wait, what does this dude's shirt say? It says Festival Finesser? Fuck is that?
You are. I see. If you're a plant, you're gonna pull your card.
We're gonna pull your card.
The Big Bang was the ultimate ejaculation.
The Big Bang was the ultimate ejaculation. Real.
Causes you to question your worldview or makes you feel insecure about it, then it's what? Fake. Let's pretend like the news just said something that makes you feel less pride about your political camp. What are we gonna say to the news? You're
fake. Hell yeah. That was funny. That was funny. That was funny. That was funny. Mapping Antarctica from Johnny Harris. Do we want to watch that? Is that what we're gonna do next, chat? Let's see. CIA Johnny. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, Izzy raid. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Thanks for the raid. What's up? What's up? Shouts out Izzy. Everybody go follow Izzy right now. What were you doing? Fortnite? Fork knife? Were you fork knifing? Hell yeah. What's up, Izzy? Hope you're having a good raid or a good day. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for the day. Hope you had a good raid. Everybody go follow Izzy for fork knife and also for emotes and just for general awesomeness. Just general awesomeness. How are there ants in the Arctic? And why is the southern Arctic named after ants? Are the ants the dominant species there? See, this is a really good question. See, that's a pretty good question, which is why I think we should actually maybe watch this video from CIA Johnny Harris. It's actually very interesting. Let's check it out.
How did we get this? A map so detailed, so precise, that guys like this would have thought it was magic, an impossibility made manifest by superhumans in the future. One of their fellow explorers, Ernest Shackleton, drew this place on the back of a menu once, dreaming of someday crossing this whole continent and paying a huge price to try. This is a place that has lured explorers from all over, killing many of them. That's because the bottom of the Earth is a place that humans really shouldn't go. It's a place that, in fact, they couldn't go.
Epic. Mapping Antarctica.
Super excited for you to see the rest of this video. First, I need to say thank you to Storyblocks for this clips. It's all searchable.
No.
Blocks.
No.
Kind of a
no.
Inside of
no. No.
Game.
No.
Can help you.
No.
Get back to this video about Antarctica. Our species were able to move and settle across the whole globe, from desolate ice deserts to impossibly faraway islands. Somehow we just showed up. We settled. But even after we had reached every corner of the globe thousands of years ago, there was still one landmass that no human had ever laid their eyes on. But something had to exist down here, they thought. Something to balance out all of the land in the north with land in the south.
Hey,
So
Flunky.
explorers and
Thank you so much for 8 months. Pog. Pog. Thank you so much for 8 months. What's up, Flunky? How you doing?
Continued to search. And on these maps, they drew their imaginary ideas. A giant continent somewhere down here. Or maybe this island out in the east really extended down, like way down. Maybe there was palm trees and abundance, a new world yet to be discovered. Others mocked the idea of a southern world. They depicted it as a dystopian land full of kingdoms rife with immorality. But these were all guesses. It all remained unknowable, too far away to find out. By the end of the 1700s, explorers had turned most of the world's oceans from mysteries
Hydrate?
to
I got
fact.
you.
And it was only
Hydrate
then
time, chat.
that the vast ocean expanses of the South turned from imaginary musings into the next frontier of discovery. The newly enlightened mapmakers were now drawing precise gridded lines to accurately audit the planet. They were done with their pretend predictions, their monsters in place of knowledge. The map would remain empty until they had evidence to fill in those great blank spaces. Hopefully with Earth's lost and last continent, for thousands of years conjectured by many, but seen by none.
Going to sleep for show. Thanks for the raid, Izzy. I
So
appreciate you. I
expeditions were
hope you have a good night.
Failed.
Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for bringing the homies over. I hope you have a good one. See you next time. Everybody go follow Izzy.
The southern seas were simply too vast, the gaps in our knowledge too big to take on this uncharted place. But in 1772,
Check disco.
one captain would begin to change everything. He set sail with 2 ships and 192 men. And with him, the latest technology, a new clock, the most precise clock ever made at the time.
Yep,
and
clock.
would for the first time allow him to determine his longitude, to map his every move, to
Who
give us
let
the
James
line
cook?
that we can now show you on this map.
Who let James
This
cook?
journey was funded by the all-consuming greed of an expanding empire looking for new soil to exploit. But him personally, he had
Tisk,
things
tisk.
going on in his mind. He was in it for the desire to go south, further south than any man had ever gone, and as far
Gonna go south?
south as any man could possibly go. He wanted to be the one to find the lost continent at the bottom of our planet. So for 3 years he scoured the oceans, yet searching in the temperate latitudes, all he found was water. So he decided to cross a line that no one before him had crossed, the Antarctic Circle.
Yeah, I'm sure slavery had nothing to do with
It's
it.
not clear, we're now looking at the bottom of the world. And this map is actually a story. It's a story of a doggedly determined explorer spending years of his life circling these oceans, dipping more south than any human had ever traveled, then coming up and then dipping down again, just in case this time he might find something. But all he found was frozen water, floating ice, sharp and perilous. But he kept on, looking for ways in. On a couple of occasions, he reached within breathing distance of land, but he never caught sight of it.
Breathing
After
distance?
years of searching,
What is breathing distance? Within breathing distance.
finally timed
I guess for your breath to touch it?
home. He didn't find the continent. But what
so close I could breathe it.
he did do was prove that if this fabled land existed, it would not be the bountiful paradise that people had imagined and hoped for. He had scoured nearly every inch of those latitudes. Instead, he knew that any land down here would be a desolate world, quote, forever buried in snow and ice. So more explorers go and attempt to do what Captain Cook couldn't. And 45 years later, they find something.
Ice!
It was the lost continent, and humans were laying eyes on
There
it
it
for the
is.
first time. No, it was not temperate, but barren and merciless. But it was seen. It existed. For human beings, a moment like this doesn't mean the end of a goal. It actually just means the very beginning. So they don't stop here.
Yeah, how can I profit off of this now?
We're heading south. Explorers looking to claim land for their country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're Yeah, okay, there you go.
Whale hunters looking for new untouched waters.
Yeah.
Scientists on boats with measuring tools and open minds, recording everything. The unknown place, a little more known, sketched on paper, the shape of a landmass. But these records only served as a new measurement of our ignorance, how much we didn't know. Our discoveries were still scattered and partial, a crude shape, a ghost of something much bigger. To truly unveil Antarctica's mysteries, we needed to venture inside it. A few years would need to pass before the people with power would turn their attention slightly away from mapping and conquering the non-icy world to supporting the full exploration of this desolate place. But eventually they got on board. They needed to know what existed in the last blank land on the map. By then, they had unleashed the magic of mechanical power, power that was fed by carbon from ancient trees, turned into black gold, locked deep in the earth. This new power allowed them to navigate the once impossible ice, unlocking the perilous interior. On board these boats were scientists, explorers, ready to ask and answer new questions, armed with new methods, new tools, progress, discovery, adventure, and of course, the French being French.
It's a little shot at the French there. Wait, what?
Race to see who can get to the South Pole first.
A little shot at
And
the
it's
French.
Norwegian group who wins. The British team gets their second, and everyone dies on their way back. And the map is shaping up. New goals.
French people doing French people shit.
We now need to
What's up,
cross
Andrew?
Antarctica through the pole, going through the ominous unexplored region on the map. A guy named Shackleton tried this, but didn't make it very far. But his journey became a tale of courage and the will to live, when he and his crew, against all odds, in some of the most hostile circumstances, managed to all return home. The expeditions of that period reset the standards of human limits. And bit by bit, line by line, the void on the map was gradually getting filled in. By 1920, you're seeing maps like this.
Wish I was gradually getting filled in. What the fuck?
And yet, still so much left unknown. After millennia of dreaming of it, we finally and indisputably conquered the skies. We were now able to lay our eyes on uncharted territories at an unprecedented scale. The first airplane flew over the South Pole in 1928, and in the next decade, many more would follow, each flight providing more detail to add to the compendium of hard-fought observations. But as much as it is a part of our nature to explore and learn, it is also a part of our nature to conquer and dominate. In the aftermath of the most catastrophic war humanity had ever known, humans once again revealed their little eternal paradox, that their love for exploration was often as much about conquest and control as it was about learning and understanding. Petty fights about who owned this land came to the surface. And thus, on the maps, more and more we see these shades of colors, unnaturally straight lines that indicate who owns what. Scientific research stations dot the icy surface.
They really divvied it up like a fucking pie.
As much for asserting
What's up, Stormy Cold
territorial
Bison?
control as for science. And now it's a new world where the two superpowers had turned the map into their chessboard for influence. Both were now looking for a share of what was still Earth's largest unexplored territory. And soon the United States is making maps like this, that has a whole shade color dedicated to land that has been seen exclusively by American eyes. It's a map that says we were here first, creating a paper trail that they could point to just in case they needed to stake a claim here at the bottom of the planet. But then the countries get together and they make an agreement that Antarctica was not meant to be just a new field for our conflicts, but rather a place for scientific inquiry. So scientists keep coming.
Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna take the United States, right? We're gonna just take the whole of the country. We're just gonna plop it right here. Okay? I heard that there's something called global warming happening. So here's my plan. We're going to lift up the United States and we're going to take it to Antarctica. Thus, global warming? Global warming who?
Scientific inquiry.
Never heard of her.
Keep coming, enabled by better technology. Icebreakers and helicopters are unloaded onto the continent. But despite all the progress, this continent remains unknown and potentially unknowable. That's until humans break a seemingly impossible barrier by escaping the force of gravity that kept us bound to our home planet. We're now throwing up spherical machines with cameras on them into space. Countries use these satellites to snap photos of their enemies on giant rolls of film in gold canisters that would fill up and then be ejected back down into the sky, intercepted by an airplane, And now, yes, we have photos of what our enemy is up to. But look, we also just have photos of the Earth, seeing it like never before.
There are benefits from this, okay? Listen, I know there's all this war and all this crazy shit going on, but like, think of the bright side.
These terrestrial outlines that old cartographers would tediously reconstruct with only the help of scattered observations, math, and plenty of imagination, now readily available to us with perfect accuracy. Our maps were no longer educated guesses. They were snapshots of reality, thanks to our satellites hurling around our planet once every 100 or so minutes, taking photos and making measurements while they fly. Humans have outdone themselves now. We have more data than our human brains could possibly comprehend. It's too much. It's basically worthless due to its scale, its detail, its complexity, until new electronic brains appear, allowing us to collect and synthesize hundreds of thousands of images from space, blending them into one map. A map that explorers who broke into this desolate place 100 years earlier could have never imagined. Every nook and cranny of Antarctica is seen. Every hill, every curve, every valley, every cliff, every ledge. But we don't stop there. Now let's measure the radiation emitted from the icy surface. We can measure the chemistry of the atmosphere down here, the temperature of its oceans, the velocity of its ice sheets as they move. We can somehow even map what this place would look like if you removed all the ice. Ice that, let me remind you, is 4 kilometers thick in some places.
Hey, yo.
Scientists soon declare that Antarctica, the place that was always inaccessible to humans, is now the best mapped continent on Earth. This generations-long quest to map Antarctica is ultimately a story of struggle and then triumph, a story of exploration and science. And to me, it's rock-solid proof of something that seems to be deeply embedded into the human experience, the obsession to discover, regardless of the cost and despite the lack of any rational reason to do so, always driven by these twin motives of curiosity and conquest, always
into money.
To
Conquest. Well, you said conquest.
To step foot in a place, no matter how impossible it seems. So yes, we've basically entirely mapped Antarctica and the entire planet at that. But you know,
call
we're not gonna
dibs.
stop
What's up,
here.
Marty C?
As new frontiers reveal their mysteries,
Is there Street
to
View?
us, the same story is bound
Good
to
question.
unfold. And I can
Yeah,
say
has the Google Maps car driven it though? That's what I need to know.
certainty that we will continue to do this, not because we
Like, who's that streamer that does the Google Maps shit? Like, if you showed him a picture of fucking Antarctica, do you think he'd know where it is?
survival, but because we need to for some other reason, some deeply human impulse that pushes us way past what's
Don't
reasonable,
put Elon's rockets on there.
and the frontiers of our knowledge, to understand ourselves and our surroundings a little better, to discover the truths of our world and our universe.
Wow.
Hey everyone,
Hey.
thanks for watching.
What's up?
This was a new format, obviously. One I'm really excited about though, because we poured a lot into making this beautiful and immersive. Tom and I developed this sound.
All right, buddy. That's enough from you, CIA Johnny Harris. That is quite enough from you. Okay, thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Johnny. Space colonialism is cool because curiosity. Yeah, right. Thanks, Johnny. Boo-doo. Ba-doo-doo-doo. Boo-doo. Boo-doo. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. What is this? Google Maps? What is this? Oh shit. Ace. Look at bro swagged out. He said, hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? Hey, what's poppin'? Yo, we out here. Yo, we really out here. That's some funny shit, bro. Damn, it looks cold. What the fuck? Oh, there's some wood. I thought that was like all rocks. And I was like, how come some of those rocks are so perfect? Aliens. Aliens. Like, how is this rock so perfect? Aliens. Proof. Proof that aliens exist. We found it. We found it, chat. They're just chilling, dude. Yeah. It's kind of the whole vibe, to be honest. It's kind of a whole ass vibe. Boom, ba-do-do-do-dum, dum. Chat. I know it's early. I know it's early for me to be ending right now, but I'm feeling like zero steam for some reason. I'm feeling like zero steam to go on. I know usually I'd take it for another hour and a half or so, but I'm feeling like zero steam. I especially feel like I shouldn't be ending right now because I only hit 5 out of 20 for the daily sub goal. I feel like I need to stay, but I'm tired, dude. I'm tired and I'm hungry. I need to start making some food and I'm out of it. I'm feeling out of it, man. That's okay, Tofu. Take care. Thanks, Andrea. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Where should we go hang out, though? I mean, we don't have to like stop hanging out. Just because I stopped streaming doesn't mean we have to stop hanging. Yo, Cro-Magnetron. Wait, holy shit. Wait, thank you for the 5 gifties. Holy fuck, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's fucking go. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 3.5 hours went fast. Well, technically we were streaming for more than that because we effed. There's an hour and a half or so VOD up now before this because we effed for some reason. I don't know. But thank you so much, Cro-Magnetron. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at that. Now we're halfway to the sub goal. Oh, Pog. Anybody, any last minute gifters? Thank you so much, Cro-Magnetron. Very, very, very generous. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me, chat. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Always amazing as always. Yo, thanks for hanging out, Ray K. Thanks for hanging out, Irked. Thanks for hanging out, Cro-Magnetron, and thank you again for the 5 gifties. Really, really appreciate it. It helps a lot, so thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Have a good night, Celticness. Have a good night, Glitter Daisy, Storm Cold Bison, Irk, Thandria, Blue Room, 2A Dave, Jack Zinder, Classic Banana Milk, Bipedal Humanoid, Complaining Laney, Nikki Bex, Lemon Hands, Ian, Complaining Laney, Classic Banana Milk, fucking all the homies. Thanks for hanging. Catalepsy, Brody Bear, Riot Vision. Thanks for hanging out. Org Bond. Thanks for hanging with me. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you all. Yo, Celtic. Thank you for getting a sub to Leftism. Just generally. Just generally to Leftism as a concept. Thank you so much, Pog. I hope Leftism enjoys the ad-free viewing experience and access to cool-ass Tofu Goes emotes. Fuck yeah, let's go. Yo, Classic Banana Milk. Thank you. Thank you for gifting a sub to Space Tune, Pog. Listen, we're in a hype train now. We're in a hype train now. We'll stay for a couple minutes and do a little hypees. We could do a little hypees. Let's do a little fucking hypees, dude. Fuck it, dude. Listen, I have a question before I head out of here. Any sluts in the chat? I'm just curious. Where are my sluts at? Let's go. Hi, I'm a slut. Do what I want, I don't give a fuck. Hey, make a simp nut. I smile when I suck. Hey, hi, I'm a slut. I don't give a fuck if your dick's cut. I heard it's good luck, bitch. Hi, I'm a giant whore. Yeah, I'm always at my door till I'm sore. More messy. Get dick down everywhere I go. Post-nut glow. 1, 2, 3, 4, I wanna be a whore. 5, 6, 7, 8, give me a slut, it feels great. Hi, I'm a slut. Do what I want, I don't give a fuck. Make a simp nut. I smile when I suck. Hey.
Hi, I'm a slut. Do what I want, I don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter if your dick's cut. Always swallow, I heard it's good luck.
Let's go. Thank you so much, chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you, thank you. Every little bit goes a long way. Like I said before during my ad breaks, I do this full time, so the support is very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. And thank you just for generally just being part of this community. Seriously, it's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Call me a slut. It feels great. I gotta do the double dick jerk off dance. Hi, I'm a slut. I don't give a fuck. Make a simp nut. Hey. These are my links, chat. Or no, that's not. Those aren't my links. These are my links. Go follow my social media stuff and see if there's anything else in there that interests you. I appreciate you all. You're all very fucking awesome and very cute and very wholesome. And I think you're all pretty swell. I think you're all pretty swell. Appreciate you all for hanging out with me. Let's go hang out with Doom. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see, who are we hanging out with? Who are we hanging out with? Let's go hang out with USA Hole. We haven't rated USA Hole in a while. Appreciate you all. Night, everyone. Spam these emotes. Spam these emotes. Spam them. Spam, spam, spam. Spam these emotes. Oops, not that. Spam this. Take all those good vibes, all that love that you were spreading around in the Tofu Ghost chat, and let's spread it around in USA Holes chat. Let's take all that love and then put it into USA Holes chat. Nice. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Love you all. Appreciate you. Bye bye. Night night. Sweet dreams. See you all tomorrow. I'll be back again, obviously, tomorrow with more news, more politics, more comfy vibes. Come hang out with me again tomorrow night. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come hang, come hang, come hang. All right, bye, everyone. Sweet dreams. Take your meds. Drink some water. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Yeah! Tofu, what's up, homie?
Now that he's gone, what the fuck? I wanna see the pet.
Hell